Oh, in that universe too, Batman injects himself with the Doomsday virus and becomes like this fucking giant creature and kills Superman.
Is that? I mean, now I'm.
See, that's what you should have done, Zach. That's why. That's why the universe never got off the ground.
Dude, there's a hilarious online video where a dude just like he put all these random fucking mods in his loadout. His companion was Master Chief.
That's sweet.
He wielded a lightsaber. The dragons were all Thomas the Train.
I saw that.
And he could summon werewolves and bears infinitely, and they would stay. So he had like an army of them.
I love this stupid shit. Dude, what a stupid fucking thing. Dude, you're just sitting down at your game, you're like, you know what would be fucking sweet?
Dude,
like,
someone modded in the spirit bomb, and it ends up, it's just you're casting a blizzard storm, but it encases the entire game world map. The frame rate plummets.
Oh,
and like he's just standing there, and it's like so choppy because it's trying to like code it all in. It's hilarious what people have done with that game. That's why Bethesda games are sick, is because of the mods that come out after the game's been live for a long time.
Dude, the Thomas the Train shit, that had me fucking rolling.
Dude,
when
it's
I
so
watched
fun. And it does the burr, burr, like when the dragons arrive. It's so fucking funny.
I was like, dude, and I've never even seen the whole thing either. It's just, I just saw that one scene, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he's playing through like the very beginning, and like you hear the dragon. It's like burr, burr.
It just comes over the top.
Yeah, and it just comes over the top, and it crashes in this building. It's hilarious, dude. That's why those games are awesome.
God, that's fucking funny. Oh God. Oh, I guess we can do the episode.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 46 of Tardy to the Party, a.k.a. T3P, the weekly podcast centered around news and reviews of that holy trinity of pop culture, Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. I'm your boy Jsib, and to my left, as always,
I'm KP.
And to my right, as always,
the man's back in the building.
And he's back!
Double.
Is that episode 46? I thought we said 47.
I thought, but then when I actually looked up our playlist, it says we only have 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
We in the mid-40s.
Don't you question me.
We're in the mid-40s.
All right, so we are hot and fresh off of seeing Blue Beetle. The three of us just got out and immediately came here to the dungeon.
Hell yeah.
I will... So you guys both don't have news?
Bro, there's strikes, man. Those strikes are still going on, and I didn't really ever see anything worth of merit to even discuss. I think there's just some random, just like... It's funny because, like, the news or shit that I've been seeing come out about Marvel is all about, like, old properties. Only thing I can say real quick... I thought I saw where it was confirmed that Rhodes was just a scroll that happened, like, at some point before Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know.
I don't even like talking about the effects of that fucking series and what it's done. Because pretty much just fucked a whole bunch of shit up, didn't give us answers, and didn't go anywhere.
And it's lame as shit that the most powerful character now in the entire cinematic universe is Emilia Clarke, who God only knows if we'll ever even see again.
There you go.
They'll
cook up some crazy shit.
Existential crisis, multiple Kangs. There's literally a hero that has every power fucking possible.
And she's out finding a home. We don't know where.
That's right, baby. We tried to get a hold of her on her cell phone. She didn't. She ghosted us.
Voyager answered, she's not. Makes sense. I mean, come on.
I think
so. That's some news. Yeah, we just spitballed some news there. Yeah.
Hey, Ahsoka's coming up this week. 22nd. 2-episode premiere. So they got that to look forward to for next week.
And I think it's going to be an hour and a half total.
I
think that's what they said.
Fucking give it
Yeah.
to me.
I'm pretty ready. Okay, I said it to another like fan that I know. I really kind of hope that Inquisitor is Ezra, because I think it's lame as shit that you like hired this actor to be his live action portrayal, but if all it's gonna amount to is these just in a holocron for like a scene, I don't know. I just think that's so fucking lame.
Dude, I think that there's a possibility that it could be, always. But for me, I think that the best thing that they could possibly do is if this show does well. I think there needs to be 2 different ways they can take this show. If it does well, it needs to end self-contained. If it doesn't do well, it needs to end self-contained. If it does well, then use the Ezra, locate him at the end, find him, have him be this kind of mythical person on the hollow recordings for 3 or 4 episodes, and then if it's not doing well, bring him in, get him some screen time, see if that makes it any better. But if it doesn't, just send it there. Don't even spend the time on the character himself, because that's the thing is he's been gone. Thrawn's back. He's got to be back, unless Thrawn killed him somehow.
Maybe it's like you said, they'll tease him at the very, very end that he is still alive, and maybe that's our, Filoni Mandoverse Avengers for Star Wars. The mashup movie is.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Ahsoka and all the rebels are like, Din, Bo, we gotta go save this kid. And they're just like, alright.
And Thrawn's waxing that ass.
You've helped us a lot in the past, so I guess we owe you one.
Yeah.
You have my ox.
Yeah. And fucking Thrawn's probably waxing everybody. That's probably how it'll end up, is Ezra will come back, and that's how they defeat Thrawn or whatever. That's pretty classic, standard, but, could be, couldn't be. Who knows? We'll find out.
I'm excited. Star Wars needs a win. Actually,
we just need content.
It's feeling weird, though. I feel like I gotta change
very recently with Andor. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's one of the few exceptions.
I feel like I've been sleeping since that though. Like it's just been like every week when we ask about news, it's always like some wild ass rumor. It's nothing like really concrete other than the same shit we talked about the week before with Ahsoka. It's always something, little breadcrumbs coming out here and there, but
Yeah, I more mean it from the perspective it almost just feels weird saying the Holy Trinity of pop culture anymore, because it just seems like superhero genre is kind of on the down pretty much on both sides, Marvel and DC. I mean, fuck, we'll get to it in a minute, but the opening night for Blue Beetle was 3.3 million for the opening Thursday. Not good. That's like basically a third of what The Flash made in its opening night. I think The Flash was around 9 million or something like that. But for the most part, Star Wars has been missing. Yes, you gave us the one caveat in Andor, and I would argue the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. This last season, we loved,
yeah,
but general audiences did not, and it had the lowest viewership it's had since it's come out.
Yeah. You know what's funny about
all 3 of our beloved properties are kind of. We need one of them to start.
Yeah. No shit.
You know what's real funny about that? What you just said. You're right. A lot of people didn't really appreciate Mandalorian season 3, but apparently, every fan, whatever, is like now either they went back and have rewatched it in prep, or people who've watched it for the first time of Star Wars Rebels, and now you have all these people that are like, hell yeah, it's canon, we're getting ready for Ahsoka. Alright, well, if that's how you feel and you enjoy it, then please go back and rewatch season 3 of Mando, and
bingo.
Give my girl Bo some much needed deserved love then, because she's very prevalent in Rebels. So actually Mandalorians as a whole is very prevalent in Rebels, so because of Sabine. So
without watching the end of Clone Wars and Rebels, you don't know shit about Mandalorian
you
culture.
don't know fucking
shit about Walt Disney. He used to shit on glass tables, man.
Oh
my god.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I do agree though with what you're saying about Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah,
Superheroes.
Yeah, dude, the fatigue's real across the board with the Trinity. I mean, there's so much there for a while, and I'm glad. That's why I was honestly glad that Iger kind of put the slow.
I was
down
gonna
on
say, even though he's a giant asshole, he was
Man.
kind of right when he
Yeah.
said, "Yeah, let's pump the brakes on all the content we're trying to push out, especially with Marvel."
It's true. It's very
It's
true.
like anything that's just it's getting saturated, where it's like, the internet's awesome because it gave access to all this stuff, but that's also the issue is that then it gets so saturated. It's like, well, good God, what do I watch?
Yeah.
What music do I listen to even? It's like with streaming music, it's like there's so much more access to all these artists, and I'm like, it's just overwhelming.
Dude, it's daunting to even get into any series anymore. I mean, if there's a series that you haven't watched and you're 3 seasons deep, forget about it. I mean, unless you're going to sit down and watch the whole fucking thing in one go, and you can stomach that, forget about it. I mean,
Dude, yeah. I mean, I'm considering taking like a 6-month hiatus from reality, like see if I can get it off work just to watch One Piece.
No shit. Dude.
That I'm laughing at my own joke, which is horrible, but yeah, I agree that it is daunting.
It's tough. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is, we're really into this shit. For the average Joe, they don't fucking care. Like they don't give a shit about getting caught up or whatever, and actually making sense of whatever the new content is. I mean, and I'm not just talking shit. I'm just saying.
No, that's what it
general,
is, and just for what it's worth, it's like, all right, say someone just comes to any of us or me, whatever. I'll just use Marvel as the example, and they're like, I've never watched any. Like, what? Oh, but I heard this Endgame movie's amazing. It's like, okay, well,
good luck getting there.
Yeah, slow down here.
Yeah,
because theoretically, you should watch this, and it's just, dude, you just named like 25 movies. I did just name 25 movies.
So in a couple months, you let me know how
Endgame is. They're all 2+ hours. Enjoy, man.
Yep.
Some of them, others, yay.
But you better watch them so you get it.
Yeah, but you're right that even with television shows that are probably more than 3 seasons deep, this is a commitment.
Yeah, and shit. I remember the first time when I was younger, I watched when I rewatched Clone Wars, like when it was all out, like it was just at my fingertips. I think that was like a full-time fucking job. And
Dude,
they're 20-minute episodes. 20-minute fucking episodes, and you're like sitting there and you're like, I remember one time I looked down, and like it was like 7 hours later. I'm like, the fuck? I'm not even halfway through a season. like what's going on?
I love to rewatch through Star Wars, but I've made myself that nutcase that like makes sure to watch the shows too. And that's why it's kind of daunting on me. I'm like, oh man. So now anymore, I just kind of, I don't know, I just pop Revenge of the Sith on.
Fucking swear.
That's all I do. That's all I do. And I love all Star Wars, but like when I'm just like, I just want to watch something Star Wars, I just that movie.
Clearly the best one.
yeah.
Clearly the best one. I mean, not even. I mean, there's certain aspects of ones that are close.
I mean, technically there are like better ones, but no,
not to me.
Not to me.
Oh my god, no! Rogue One. I like watching Rogue One. I can watch that one quite a bit. I've been able to. The rewatchability on Rogue One is fucking. It's mint. But,
spy movie. It's awesome.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And fucking so good. Yeah, which reminds me. The creators coming out next month. That's that.
Oh yeah.
That AI movie with the director from Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that looks
fucking
interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a better word than I was going to use, but I mean, not from a quality standpoint, just more accurate, because it just looks very strange for. I mean, not knowing anything about it and for it to just pop up like it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't even know if I've ever actually seen like the trailer. I think I just saw like screen grabs or posters for it, and I was like, "What the fuck is
The
So
trailer's dope.
it's like
Trailer's dope.
it's like a post-apocalyptic type world where like mankind, like, stop me if you've heard this one. Mankind made AI, and the AI decided, well, humans are fucking garbage people. Let's kill them all.
Terminator.
Let's
Yeah.
drop a
The
nuke.
Matrix.
Let's drop a nuke on fucking L.A. It's pretty much how it happened.
He just Terminator. The Matrix. Oh, anytime we ever have a plot with this.
iRobot.
Oh, great movie.
Yeah.
Ex Machina.
And then
Yeah, no shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the main character discovers this half-human, basically a cyborg child that can at will control, like, can he control like power grids and stuff?
I don't
it's, like,
know.
Really weird.
I
in the
don't know.
trailer.
I didn't. The way I kind of took it was I think they kind of left it open for to be interpreted, because they were sitting in this chair. It was that little girl sitting in the chair, and she was talking to him, and she's, "Are you gonna go to heaven?" And he's like, "No, that's where good people go." Then we're the same in that way, because you're not good, so you're not going to heaven, and I'm not a person. And it turns her head, and it has like this circle in the back of her cranium.
Circle, like
moves
cranium. Yeah.
and shit. And I was like, that's fucking pretty sweet.
Very like Ghost in the Shell ish,
Mhm.
where it's like it's a human, but it's not a human because it's a robot. So it's cyborg. Yeah.
It's supposed to be like the perfect hybrid, I think.
Yeah.
Like the perfect hybrid between machine and man, and you not tell the difference, and them still have like emotions and feelings.
Yeah.
So I think that was their secret weapon that he was supposed to eliminate.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Didn't that Rebel Moon get a trailer finally?
Did it?
No.
It did not.
No? I was gonna say.
Stuff just got leaked then, or
This Tuesday. They dropped a poster. And
Okay,
there's like a
poster,
behind the scenes shot that Zach posted. No, we had some, I'll say one of them was fairly pretty credible, but they were coming out gung-ho about how it was supposed to drop this Tuesday, and it didn't drop this Tuesday. And then towards the end of the day, they were like, it's next Tuesday. And then Zach came out and posted, it was like, new trailer next Tuesday. And they were like, see, I told you.
Told you.
your whole entire explanation of that was amazing.
Told you.
Okay, so before we get into Blue Beetle, I have two quick things. One, though we reported on last week about how Gal Gadot was in talks for development of Wonder Woman 3. Variety then came out swiftly, like 2 days later, and shot that down. We all know how I feel about Variety, but no one's as really. Apparently, she's not in Wonder Woman anymore. So who knows? I don't really. Oh boy, I don't care to really find out. I just.
So she's not Wonder Woman anymore.
Yeah, she's out.
She's out.
She's out.
She is now apparently out.
Oh, so fuck everybody now, huh?
So then.
Yeah, so it's back to fuck everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can somewhat, I don't know. We talked about it. I don't know how I really feel about it. But yeah, the clusterfuck that is the DCU that has not come out yet is already just. Oh, the other news. In case anybody was wondering, I guess we'll go into James Gunn news. Roll the tape. Like how
Roll the tape.
you like
Play
how
that- play
I
that-
just
play
told
that.
future me to roll the
Okay.
tape.
Play that beautiful bean
Gotcha,
footage.
bro.
Play that beautiful bean footage.
Dang.
James Gunn decided to shoot down a rumor that was. I'm not even going to look up who the fucking name of the dude is, but there was a apparent report by somebody completely irrelevant about how this. Can I say this word on here? Adult film star.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Porn star?
Porn?
Yeah,
Porn star?
I don't know if we can say that on YouTube.
Well, we
I
should.
might have to bleep that. You're not really supposed to talk about those
We say
type
shit
of
and fuck all the time.
They have
But-
OnlyFans. Give us this.
Also, yeah, great point.
Yeah,
And we
but-
actually have talked about that.
That's
in,
true.
Like,
I think I've said some
Or-
borderline sketchy shit that, but so we haven't.
Yeah, but you're
I
not
don't know that
allowed.
we've ever said borderline sketchy shit, but we definitely have not been like we have not tiptoed around the realm of the website.
That's true.
and the lifestyle.
It's also that, but
The
I know
OF.
like I'm pretty sure you like get dinged even if you say, well, I'll say the censored version of it, segs. Like you can't say that on YouTube. You can't say that word. You can't talk about sexual content on the tube. So that's why
I swear I have
avoiding
before.
said stuff like that.
If there was going to be somebody that says something about segs, it'd be me.
I mean, there are content creators who make YouTube videos that review, like, OnlyFans pages.
That's really fucking weird. I don't know how do you know that, KP?
What?
rabbit holes, rabbit holes. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Literally, because you go down a rabbit hole.
I mean, I could
Have
be
you
wrong.
never been down a rabbit hole with the internet?
Dude, I watch reaction videos to a lot of like music and stuff like that, and then like the deeper I go, some of that shit does pop up.
Yeah,
Some of
exactly.
that wild shit pops up.
Mainly, I would go down a rabbit hole of like I think like anime reviews, and like that's usually how that pops up because
Well, that's dicey because you're gonna get some hentai shit in that, you know.
probably why even the other thing came up.
Hey, I didn't say it.
I want to go home.
I want to go.
Oh my god.
What the fuck was I even talking about to begin with before that was going on?
So an adult film.
Oh yeah,
actress-
don't know the name of the dude, but there was this got some traction about how they were gonna play Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy, and
This
James-
adult film actor has been every profession you can imagine.
Oh, sins?
Johnny himself.
I knew
Yeah,
immediately.
everyone does.
Knew
That's all I have
immediately.
to say. And you're like, no, he's talking about.
Sins.
Yeah.
I knew it before you even
This
said
adult film actor
As soon as you said Lex Luthor, I was like, I know who would fit
was
that
on the
role.
Jumbotron at the Minnesota Vikings Stadium because a fan duped the fucking front office.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's amazing.
On a real note, wouldn't be a bad looking Lex Luthor.
That's what I
All
said.
I'm gonna say.
Dude, I knew-
All I'm gonna say.
Bro, I knew Johnny Sins before you even confirmed that with the job thing. I was like, Lex Luthor? Bald porn star?
that works.
It
Yeah.
works. It works. It
well,
works.
it's not happening. I'm sorry to let you guys down.
He has a lot of
he
screen
shot that
time,
down,
okay?
which I can't believe he actually took the time to reply to somebody on that. But yeah, he actually took the time
Because
to reply.
it's hilarious.
Oh, dude, and he's getting so much attention because he's collabing with like a bunch of like influencers, like young influencers.
I know who you're talking about.
Hill,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that girl's.
she's fucking throwing her shit in the garbage, especially going up against, you know, Livy or whatever.
Well,
her
that's
name
how
is.
she got famous in the first place.
Well, right,
But
and
now
yeah.
she's the lifestyle.
Now she's
and
getting Johnny Sins.
Now she's the OF famous.
You're right.
Well,
I mean, look at him. Look at him. I mean, obviously, you can see by the content she was putting out there that it was pretty one direction.
well, it's just the. It's the influencer stuff, and like the convention I went to, I was at this one panel where the guy was talking about how to like start out being a content creator, and he got asked a question about being an influencer, and it was comical to me, and I loved this. His response was he sighed heavily, he goes, you can't see his face. He's wearing a Spider-Man mask, and like Spider-Man, he keeps his actual real-life face secret, this cosplayer. And he immediately, like, doesn't even answer the question. He sighed heavily, and he just goes, I hate that word. And, like, the room was silent. I was just like, yeah, that's right, you did. And he
Hell
just,
yeah.
all he said was, like, that's the thing, is it's the whole get famous, you know,
Yeah.
and sell out. And that's what he said. He basically said, like, if you're trying to be famous and be an influencer, he's like, I'm sorry, but to me, like, you're a sellout to
Yeah.
me.
Oh yeah.
And I was, yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, that's just the way it's, you know.
And that individual that you named, I kind of feel like that's like, of course, that's the direction it went.
Oh,
It's like,
I mean, and from the moment the content hit, you're like, it's only a matter of time.
right.
It's only a matter of time.
Every time.
And I swear, as I scroll, it's like, oh, you can even tell. There's going to be a gauge out there at some point where, like, depending upon the content you're posting, to the extent to which you're posting it, we're going to be able to tell how close you are. You know? Because one of our favorites for a while there now she's on something new.
Oh, because well,
It's called
I know
something different, you know. It's
well,
more
because
lingerie.
what she was on got bought out, and
Yeah.
then she just decided, well, then I'll go on that platform, and then now I'm finally gonna just again sell out even more.
Even more.
Like, that's kind of like why I complain about that creator, because it's like, well, you were cool because of like what you were doing on TikTok
You got famous with lightsabers.
and your Instagram. Yeah, and it was cool. And it was dope.
Cool as shit.
And then you know,
Yeah.
again, sold out.
Yep.
I
We're-
wanted the
We're being ambiguous here, but
Get that
it's-
bread, girl.
Yeah, I
Get
mean,
get all them Simps money.
oh, she's got it.
yeah, have the,
She's got it. That's
she
for-
does have it.
She-
And
dude, she
the
could-
new, so the new basically this platform that bought out the old, like, you know, you talk about a rabbit hole, because like her shit still pops up on my Instagram.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's like, huh, what's she charging now? All these assholes. There's like, you can be it was like $300.
Yeah.
And she'll like make sure to priority
and-
message you.
yeah, she'll message you daily.
Daily. And like keep up conversation. And I was like,
And she had 500 subscribers in the first week, and they were all at least $10 to $100 a month.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, and it's not even like OnlyFans nude shit. It's just like
Even better on her then. Like
I know, like that's the part that
I'm not gonna hate the player. I mean, you can hate the game all you want, but I'm not gonna hate the player.
I hate
Get your
the-
bread, girl.
I hate the game, and I used to like the player, but I do not anymore. you know.
Yes.
You know, here's the thing. When I first started watching, it was all Star Wars content, and it was, you know, blade spinning and stuff like that, lightsaber spinning and all that.
Oh, don't get me wrong. If that's why I was watching somebody, and then they started doing this stuff, it's like, well, that's not why I watch you. But
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
interested.
That's really all
I-
we're trying
I
to say.
get that,
Like
but-
Hey,
we're
hey, if
really,
I could make her money, I'd fart in jars and sell it if I could make the type of money she's been fucking making.
Hey,
So,
yeah, exactly.
Nobody's gonna tell you no, Bull. Okay.
dude,
In fact, I'll help
I think
promote you.
You know what? I think they should tell me no. They should just be like, "Well, don't do that. Don't ever do that. If you thought about doing it, wake up and apologize. Do it.
Wake up, look yourself in the mirror, and you apologize.
You apologize
to yourself.
for that fucking blasphemy." No.
You sell out.
Yeah, selling out for the farts and jars, man. From bathwater too.
Yeah.
We talked about that once. We already crossed that bridge.
Anyways, back to DC.
back
Is there
to
any
back to
other
James Gunn
Gunn
news.
stuff?
Gunn
the
tweets.
main one.
I
which
mean,
was
it's
the fact.
it is hilarious, and if that's funnier, it makes it even funnier that he even responded to it, just because.
That's
And-
fucking fun.
The other thing he also responded to, which is the main thing I kind of wanted to get at, because I just don't understand how people are this ignorant.
Ignorant.
Yes,
So ignorant.
So people are still constantly giving him shit about the recasting, and I couldn't find it right now, but essentially it was somebody. He basically replied to it saying, "I never said I was making a young Superman movie."
Oh yeah.
I thought he did say that.
He did not say that. That's
Oh.
not what he said. He said, "This is where I don't understand why this is so hard for." Not necessarily saying it to you because you're not the one bitching about it on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't really care. I just want a goddamn DC. Universe.
But I don't understand why it's so hard for people to like wrap their mind around the fact that you can have a movie about a Superman that is younger, but it isn't inherently a younger Superman movie.
it's not inherently an origin story.
Because he's already come out and said it's not an origin story.
Yes.
He has said that. He's also said that
Kind of like how the
heroes
MCU
already exist in this universe.
It's like how the MCU treated Spider-Man.
I still think until I've been proven wrong, KP, I think my theory's right. I think Papa Kent's back. I don't think Papa Kent's dead in his universe.
Maybe he'll die in this movie.
Well, I'd be that would kind of piss me off in a way, because it'd be like, why'd you bring him back if you're just gonna kill him off?
Another tornado. Bring it back.
Nah, he'll probably give him a heart attack and make everybody. Yeah, that's how you kill him. That's how you kill Paul Kent with a fucking heart attack.
Hey, would that bring the fandom together for once?
It very well could.
You know.
But yeah, I don't understand how. As the Snyder fan, the Snyder cultist,
Yeah, that's
of
what you
the
are.
group.
That's what you are.
That's
Hey,
what you
the
fucking
first
are.
the first step is just admitting it. But
Right.
Don't
Acceptance.
understand just a lot of the bullshit that gets thrown James Gunn's way. But this will end the news segment, and we can now get into the hotness. Blue Beetle, which now
Blue Beetle.
currently, as the Friday, the day after it released, 18th, yeah. It currently sits at a 77% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes with 162 reviews, and then an audience score of 250 plus 91%. It's the first certified fresh DC movie since, well,
Fresh.
not counting Batman and the Joker. But as far as like in a cinematic universe, it's the first one to be certified fresh since James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. And just like this James Gunn Suicide Squad, as much as I adored this movie, it ain't making no money. Because,
Whoa.
that theater we were sitting in tonight, boys, 10 people?
And you know what? That's probably my biggest bitch about the whole thing is this is a good movie, and just because people are so mad at the DCU right now, it's like they're fucking boycotting the movies. How is things going to get better if you don't go fucking watch the movies?
This has been my issue.
I mean, there's
with
that
the
part.
fandom. This is why
Like, come on.
I mean, there's that part, and then like we've said before, the other problem is just streaming.
Well, you're
People are like,
You're right
well,
about
why do I want to wait? Or, people are sitting here like anymore. They're just like, well, why do I want to spend, especially like a family. It's like, why do I want to spend anywhere between $50 to $100 to go see this movie when we're all content just to sit around and wait for 2 months to see it? That's the thing. Maybe, I mean, hey, is it awesome that we can get movies straight to home real fast? Yeah. But maybe studios, just to get people's asses into the theater, maybe you just slow it down on that.
100%.
Maybe just purposely sit on it for like 6 months.
Dude, take
Extend
out the
window
incentive.
like it used to be.
Yeah.
God, do you remember
Window.
being kids and like you'd see a movie in the theater and it'd be like, man, you'd be like thinking
Can't
like,
wait.
man, I'm not gonna be able to watch that again for like another 9 months when it comes out on video.
Mhm.
Yep.
Like-
Take away the incentive to not go to the
Right.
theater. like other than that, if this is how it's gonna be and continue to be, we can't put any heat into how much a fucking movie makes until it's all said and done with and it's on every platform. I mean,
That or like you can't
It
really.
is.
You kind of got to also stop bitching at the fact that the streaming services, the price just keeps going up.
right.
It's like, well, yeah, because
This is what you want.
You get this shit that's like costs fucking 8 digits, 9 digits to make, and it's like you want it right away.
You want a premium product.
you don't wanna
gotta
go-
pay for the premium service.
Yeah, and you don't want to go see it right when it drops. Well, they're these studios. They're gonna recoup their money somehow.
Yeah, you're getting charged.
Like-
You're paying that $17 and change that we paid per ticket tonight, one way or the other, throughout all that time.
Right.
And that's what the fandom is doing to itself right now. It's making it worse in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's just what society's doing.
And then
Yeah.
next thing you know, why the fuck are we wasting so much money on movies? We want to make a quality movie, but why are we putting this much effort into when people don't fucking pay to see them?
Ugh, God, that scares me. Because you're right.
It's scary, man. That's what like when I walked in, that was the first thing I had. I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. That nobody appreciates the cinematic experience anymore. There's just no benefit to it. Just can't stand it. Drives me crazy. Grinds my gears.
You know,
really
grinds my gears.
Grinds
Grinds
my gears.
Oh man, what a reference.
So, start off, I guess, non-spoiler review for Blue Beetle real quickly.
Guest host is pissed out there.
Poor Freya.
I know. It's hard life shit.
As the Snyder cultist,
Had to say
which all you
Cultist.
fucking
One
Snyder
more
fans
time.
out there,
One more time. Yeah,
all you
yeah,
other
one
fellow
more
Snyder
time.
fans out there, you should be supporting this movie
100%.
because Zack Snyder supported this movie, and Mr. David Ayer has been in support of this movie. So, if you really want to show how big the Snyder fandom still is, even though you haven't showed up hardly at all the past 9 movies, then show up for once. Like,
Yeah.
despite what you think of like the current universe, like I don't know, if you're truly a fan of Zach's and you support him, like he's supportive of this movie, so is David Ayer. Like, and this movie, I think warrants you going to see it. It's actually pretty impressive that this was supposed to be originally a Max, just straight to Max movie, and they gave it the extra budget. And I will say, there are times where I could, not how it looks, just certain ways that it's framed and shot, that I can see that. But overall, I think the budget that they put, the extra budget that they went and put back into it, they did a fucking phenomenal job.
Yeah, they cleaned it up.
The CGI in this, I have no problem saying this at all, is flat out better than The Flash. And this is a fraction of the budget. That's because I think the Angel is the name of the... Oh, boy. Who's the director? I want to get this right.
Angel Soto.
Yeah. Definitely is a lover of practical effects and not so much leaning on VFX, because and you can tell. And it makes sense, because he probably knew going this, it was a Max, straight to Max movie, didn't have the budget that a big time movie would be, so he relied on practical effects, and I think that 100% paid off in the end, because I think everything looked really crispy.
So good. So good. Yeah, the best part is, like you said, the practical effects were so prominent that those small moments where they actually had to use the strong visual effects, it was, like you said, the crispness of like when he would change in the beginning, set me off. It's like when he was on the ceiling, crawling across the ceiling and shit, and his mouth was open and he had
so
all that
good.
shit in his mouth. That was fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I really like the family dynamic in this movie. So a thing I think is good about it might be a bad thing for some people. Is granted, I don't know how many superhero movies we've had at this point.
I mean, it does the family dynamic better than the Shazam movies.
Definitely.
I wouldn't disagree necessarily. Well, definitely the second one.
Yeah. That's really what I meant to get at.
I meant as far as like, this movie does definitely borrow from a lot of other comic book movies. It's a very big hodgepodge of, like, there's, as much as I do love this movie also isn't doing anything inherently like special or different. But it's a really good, solid origin movie, I think. But
to be fair,
I could see some people maybe coming into this and being like, "Yep, I've seen this before," because you probably have.
To be fair, the hodgepodge effect is real, but this character also is real. The more like real, like Iron Man of DC. Like, yeah, is Batman the rich billionaire that makes himself a superhero, and that's comparable to Iron Man? Yes, but as far as, like, wearing a suit and having just this unlimited amount of capability with it, Blue Beetle is actually more like Iron Man.
Yeah,
and I think
even
that's
with
why
the
you
voice.
kind of...
The voice and everything.
Right, and that's kind of why you will watch it, and you definitely will sit there and think, especially if you don't know shit from reading comics or just watching other, like, animated shows is what I should say. Yeah, it's going to feel like a hodgepodge, and you're just going to sit there and maybe judge it as like, oh, well, this is just ripping off of, you know, all these MCU movies. It's like, well, you're not wrong, but
I mean,
there's also a reason.
Honestly, like, if somebody came up to me
movies in
and this
general.
movie did it pretty well, if they were like, well, who's Blue Beetle? Like, what's his powers? All right. Imagine Peter Parker Spider-Man gets in contact with an alien, like, symbiote Venom type technology that gets a hold of him, that gives him an Iron Man suit, that gives him Green Lantern powers. That's Blue Beetle.
Hot.
So it is interesting how you say
Right.
Iron Man. To me, Blue Beetle, like, the most out of those, I get Spider-Man vibes. Because he's the younger man, he's the younger hero. I can't blame you for saying Iron Man. He's got a
it's
freaking
the whole,
suit,
but it's the
like a
whole like
robotic suit,
nano. It's like the nanotech effect of like how the weapons form.
Jaime Reyes, his character, is a Peter Parker 100%.
Yes.
I feel like.
Yeah.
That and like when he's doing I'm not a killer. It almost like, and I'm not gonna. We're still in non-spoilers, right? So at this point, I just
So
wanted to
spoilers.
well, I was gonna say, just because of that, it's like it seems like that kiddish, boyish, we're not a killer type of thing. It does bleed into the movie, and where Peter, he never really does that until it kind of gets shoved in his face. Well, the new Peter, the most recent Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most recent Peter. Until it's shoved in his face, he doesn't really have to do that. But yeah, I could see that. I could see his character being Peter Parker, but then Iron Man when he's in go mode. And I'm trying to be careful with what I say here. I don't want to be spoilery.
Maybe some slight. That was kind of a slight con, I guess. But villains are kind of. I mean, I'll say it, they're nothing special.
They could
Something they did something kind of cool with Carapax at the end that I thought was kind of cool, but
they could have done so much more. I think, especially if we would have known that earlier.
But I mean, Susan Sarandon, very cookie cutter, very bland, very traditional. Just,
Dude, she was at the con I was at. Only celebrity guest that had a whole curtain section around her booth, so you couldn't see her or photograph her from just standing out.
DC's new biggest villain, man. Well,
That is definitely not the reason at all as to why she did that. She did that just because she doesn't want people to take photos of her.
Trying to make that mother and money.
Yeah,
dude.
she's just so to a T. I want to sell it. You know, you're not gonna. I mean, I didn't take photos, but shit, I fucking wide open could have had Sam Raimi right there. Boom, snapshot, photo of him. Same thing with Christopher Lloyd. Saw him right there. Boom. Anthony Michael Hall, Randy Quaid. Saw all of them. Was like, could have just been like, click, real quick. I didn't do that.
$250.
Yeah.
$250.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
$250.
I just saved this much. I just saved this much. I mean, I didn't do that because, like, you know, they don't want you to do that, and I respect them for not wanting you to do that, and I respect the fact that they don't sit there and kind of Wizard of Oz themselves, but she did that, and I was like, I never saw her, and some people are even saying, like, kind of rolling their eyes about it, and I was just like, and you do you're a celebrity. I mean,
Name,
shit.
image, and likeness, baby. NIL all day long.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The most cookie cutter of villains, like, I mean, at least they gave it some background explanation when, the love interest heroine is, like, explaining to him, like, why she is the cookie cutter villain type. But yeah, I mean, as far as the performance, yes.
it really did feel like they were like, all right, we got Susan Sarandon for 2 days. Let's get this shit fucking done.
Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping.
I will say, like, I didn't even know she was in the movie. That was like I go, oh shit. Hey, I literally was just in the location that you were. Just
No curtain this time.
yeah.
It was only $17 to see you.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think the family dynamic really worked. I think there was a lot of love to Latin culture, which I thought was really cool.
And fucking hilarious.
Yeah, George Lopez is fucking hilarious.
Money.
Dude, he was so funny.
I don't even usually like him either. Like stand up and stuff. And
Oh,
like his
really?
show, I don't even like him like that.
Oh man.
And dude, just lit me up. Bro.
So funny.
Bro, I was weak for half that fucking movie, dude. Even the stuff the sister was saying, I'm losing.
The sister was hilarious.
Hilarious, dude. That whole family, dude.
Oh my god, she actually quietly you got a good chuckle out of it too. I think
Which one?
the slight spoilers, just a little joke, but when he's like talking about how you guys hiring like a paralegal, or no, I think she says, you guys hiring a paralegal? You guys need a pre-lawyer?
A pre-lawyer.
It was such a throwaway background line, but it got me so good.
It was, dude, and that's such a great dig at like, oh, you graduated? What, pre-law? Cool. Cool. What are you gonna go do with that pre-law? What are you gonna go do? That's funny.
I think most of the humor hits in this movie there's some that don't land. Like I'll get into it in spoiler territory. I'll allude to it here, but we'll talk about it when he gets to the desk at Court Industries.
Yes.
I was like, this joke makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Which one? What part
See,
was
we
it?
don't
What
even
the-
know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it
That's how
must-
much it didn't land.
Yeah, it must have.
I don't even know what you're talking
That
about.
thing must still be in the air somewhere.
I'll,
That didn't go down.
I'll start spoiler section off with that just
Okay,
to get it
okay.
out of the way. But I guess that kind of like wraps up. Unless you guys have anything else to say non-spoilery before we get into it, but I definitely recommend seeing this movie. Like,
Highly,
please go see
highly
this
recommend.
movie.
Highly,
saying
for,
it,
for
yeah.
more than reasons we talked about with supporting DCU and getting everything going, it's worth your time, 100%.
They very bold, but I applaud them for upgrading this to a theatrical release and giving it the extra money to do it because
I'm glad.
I think
we
it was.
saw
I'm glad we got to see it in IMAX.
In
Like,
IMAX.
It was cool.
Yeah. When we rewatch it, it'll be interesting to see how much of an effect that IMAX did have on the movie. Because, dude, it was. I mean, it was big time.
Especially the fucking sound.
Yeah.
Like especially when her helicarrier. I'll just go fucking helicarrier. You felt that some bitch in there. You're like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was loud.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, highly recommend. Yeah, we always do rating at the end of spoiler section. So
Yeah.
yeah, just thumbs up from me, unless you're going to join us in the spoiler section.
Definitely. All thumbs up. Wish I had more thumbs.
I can't even tell if I'm in the shot.
Just your thumb.
Hell yeah.
Just an arm.
He's leaning back so much.
So I'm leaning back so much because I don't like sitting upright.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Now we talk the spoilers. Okay,
Oh,
so he
let's
goes
go.
into court industry, right? He's like, I gotta find Jenna. You know.
Yeah.
Jesus. Anytime she was on screen for you.
Let me just explain to you really quick. I have a thing, and it's called like a weakness. You know.
Oh,
You know-
we've talked about this.
And it's like Brazilian women. And
well,
this-
I mean,
this
to
par-
be fair,
this particular
Central
one,
and Southern American women just kind of in general get me going.
just and we won't elaborate. I won't elaborate, but I'll say all this.
Jeff's got a lot of blood
Ice
flow
and
going to his
gabagool.
mid-region.
I'm telling you.
That was fucking great.
Dude,
That was great.
I think the first words that came out of my mouth when she came on the screen, I go, "Oh shit!" and Jordan looks so rapid, he's just giggling the whole time.
I like how she was gangster sitting in the high ass stilettos, just on that couch, just like
That was
power sitting with the legs
Yeah.
spread wide
just
open.
man spreading for
Yeah.
everybody. I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, I just go, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, we heard you and we were fucking dying laughing.
almost any time the screen was focused on her, something was coming out of Bull's mouth.
I'm like, "Let's go."
at the end when she she's walking back to the motorcycle and it kind of had like her leg shots. You just hear Bull. Jesus.
Oh, dude, she got me.
That's funny.
She got
me.
She got me. She got me good. They got me. They picked the right person for that role. They got me because I'd have taken a scarab up the butt for to bag her, bro.
Culo!
Yeah, you went this culo. He says it did not.
It did not.
It was so good. Oh my god, dude. Oh, dude, when they're just all screaming, it's just, dude, that shit was so funny when he first turns and they're screaming in the fucking dining room. That shit was so funny.
See, that's kind of my gripe, though, is I felt like that wasn't as, like, I felt like, yeah, he's hanging up in the ceiling and this thing is taking over and coloring his skin,
Yeah.
and they're just kind of, like, not freaking out as much as I would think that people in reality, you'd be, like, screaming your fucking lungs off looking at that.
She was. Sure, the mom went, ah, like showed her face. Like,
I
going,
don't know, man. I felt like...
I actually agree with KP here. You are right. They freak out at the very beginning because I caught this too, which was kind of weird. They freak out in the beginning, and then all of a sudden they're just kind of calm after that. Then they just stare and watch.
I
And then
think that-
even when he
that was
like
after Reed
flies
got
off
sent into
out
the
of the building,
fridge.
they're still just fucking standing there.
That's
and
what
then
I
when they
mean!
and
I'm
then when
like,
they cut to the and even when they cut to the mom later and she's on the phone like talking to the police. Yeah, he's just
There's not a real
he's in a
sense of
serious-
urgency.
There's no sense of urgency or anything. Like
Oh, shit. Okay.
yeah, something moved. I was saying.
That was me moving the damn battery thing. But we're good. We're good.
No, but they. I mean, there was probably a good like for the entire time he was changing, everybody was freaking out. Rudy got thrown into a freaking fridge, got blasted.
I mean, you're right. I more agree with Jay that I just kind of sat there. I was like, okay, this is kind of how I think this movie's a little cheesy because, yeah, they did for like 5 seconds at first, and then it was kind of like they just got quiet. And we're just kind of,
dude. I think we need to rewatch that because it was a lot longer than I think you're giving it credit for. Because they were screaming forever, dude. They were screaming forever.
And like Jordan said, even like when he flies out of the house, they're just kind of like,
yeah, they all go completely silent and they're just staring at him, and then it cuts to him.
But I felt like they had been silent for like a hot minute.
You want him to scream for 20 minutes?
I do. I do. That's what I'd be doing. Like,
dude, if I saw somebody fly away, my
Especially
mouth would just open, and I'd be like, I do
Okay.
exactly what they do.
and I'm sorry.
And also, to be fair, when Jaime's in the suit, he does spend his first 20 minutes in the suit screaming.
That's fair.
That's
and
basically all he does.
literally not doing anything correct, just getting slammed into every fucking thing. Yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, I don't think this is cheesy. I don't necessarily agree with that aspect, but.
And I'm not
Own
necessarily
opinions.
I'm not necessarily dogging on the scene either because what I did like I loved the first transformation and like
It's
the
fucking
like the
sweet.
body horror.
Dude, the mouth when it's black and it's like fucking tar.
Like
When he
it-
opened his mouth, I was like, that's fucking sweet.
Yeah.
When we sat down, and I think immediately after we sat down, I think we got like 2 horror movie trailers, and I was like, why the fuck are they? Like, I get that the fall's coming, but like, why are we getting so many horror movies for
Dude.
this movie? And then when that scene happens, I was like, that kind of makes sense.
I got it.
Yeah, it made a little
God,
sense.
get yourselves ready for fucking October because there's gonna be so many horseshit, scary movies coming out. 'Cause
That's every year.
They never. Well, exactly, but we got the Exorcist remake this year, so
Dude,
Probably.
put it this way.
it's probably
They're usually fucking so bad it's hilarious.
bad.
That's why we watch. That's why I watch them, man.
Dude, I don't even try it anymore until somebody tells me that something is. And usually it's the jump scare bullshit. You know, now that's all it is. It's all jump scares. There's nothing that's actually like, man, that fucked with me. You know, like that is the movie I'm looking for. But you know, I digress.
It's only I've seen the meme where it's me watching a scary movie and then at the end it says based on a true story and it's like fetal position with a crucifix on the wall. Like when you're going to sleep. I was like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Dude,
I'm not really that religious, like, if at all. And yeah, definitely when I like watching The Fourth Kind. You ever watch that movie?
I love that movie.
In that movie, yeah, at the end, just based on actual events. I go to bed just, shit, fucking aliens, man.
Keep the fucking windows closed.
Yeah.
No blue lights getting in here, man.
That movie's fucking freaky.
It is, dude, and it's so well done too, especially for the time period it came out and what they did with it. It's pretty good.
All right, back to Blue Beetle.
Yeah,
Blue Beetle.
Yep, Blue Beats.
Different aliens.
Yeah, no shit. So now we're past the transformation, him getting shit whipped and cutting buses in half.
Which that scene, again, hodgepodge, that's straight up from Multiverse of Madness.
Yep.
Cutting the bus in half.
Yep.
Hell, even like kind of rocketing way up into orbits, reminiscent of like the first Iron Man when he's testing like the whole test thing. She's like testing flight capability or whatever. And like that's the whole. It's the same thing.
Systems test.
It's like systems test. Let's go all the way up. Okay, now we're gonna free fall back down.
Catch myself.
And then catch myself at the end. And yeah,
dude, you just those dudes sitting on the street corner and it says what did we take that about 20 minutes ago?
Yeah.
They dropped drugs and shit.
God.
And it's I think it's hitting me right now. That was perfect, dude. Oh god, it was so good.
Did you like that the Scarab was a female voice?
Sure. I liked it. I didn't feel like or dislike towards
See,
it.
I watched the Young Justice cartoon where Blue Beetle's a big character in it, and like the Scarab is like this angry sounding like male voice, and it was different to have like, again, I hate to relate it, but like the kind of the whole Iron Man thing with Friday. It's like the female AI voice thing. I was like, oh, okay, but
I mean, I think I mentioned this like a previous episode before we came this came out, but the only thing I really cared about is that the suit could talk to Jaime, but nobody else could hear the suit. Or if they did, it just sounded like alien garbage, and not garbage, sorry, alien language that they just couldn't understand. So,
but yeah, this movie they could hear it, right?
I don't think they could.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, because remember at the very end, or when she's like, he said, "Stop," and she goes, "What?" He goes, "Not you. I was talking to."
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good because I think isn't that traditionally how it is? Like only he can hear it.
I've seen some iterations. At least my interpretation of the comics, it seems like they'll go ahead and make like bubbles for it that are like in a weird language that obviously can't read.
That would have been cool if they
But-
would have used
so it's
that
like-
a little bit. That would have been kind of cool.
To me, sometimes it almost seems like other people can hear it. They just don't understand what the hell. It almost just.
That would have
It sounds something like that to them, basically. But to Jaime, he can
The
understand it.
the shit from Dune.
Oh my
Dude, did you see that video I sent you? The power lifter, the deadlifter. He says, we don't need any rituals, and it says every power lifter. I know, man. It shows all them doing those chants. I'm like, that's so good, so perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, since he already has a suit, before he got the suit, the joke that didn't land at all and was very poorly
Oh
written.
yeah.
One of the few that was really
Which
terrible.
one was it?
So he walks into Cord to get
The job.
the job, and he goes up to the desk, and he says his name is Jaime,
Oh yeah.
and she goes
Jamie.
Jamie, and
Yeah.
it's like that joke doesn't work unless she is such a like racist bigot that she's
I think
openly.
that's what they were
That's
going
exactly
for.
what it was.
But it doesn't come off that way. It almost just would have been better if they would have set it up like
Like
they had
in
like
the-
a sign-in sheet or something, and she was like, "Sign your name," and then he did it, and then she says like Jamie, and then he says no Jaime, and then if she still corrects it again, that's when it's kind of funny of like, oh, it's an ignorant bigot asshole.
I just think
But,
it was
like-
ignorant
I
white
mean, that's
folks.
what they were going for.
Ignorant white folks is basically how it was.
But
to
the
me.
ignorant white folks
Well,
joke
right.
doesn't work when the name isn't written out for them to be ignorant. How would she know that's how Jaime's
Well,
spelled if
you're
she's that
supposed to
ignorant?
kind
Or
of
she,
understand.
she knows that
Jay.
H's are J's, and she's probably just
You're,
saying
you're
that
supposed
as
to understand that they are white bigots because, see, what's happening is that where they live is getting gentrified by the rich corporations that are run by white people. So you're just kind of supposed to know that the white people that work for said rich corporation owned by white people are bigots. But like you said,
just like Sanchez.
it's kind of not like it's kind of not smacked in your face so much. Like that whole part of it is there, and yeah, it makes sense. 'cause
Sanchez.
I mean, it
that
is.
was a whole line of the movie that they kept bringing back over and over and over and over.
Oh,
and
yeah,
over
yeah,
and
yeah.
over.
I know, but
Yeah.
again, then the way it's set up in the scene, it just logically
Oh, it
doesn't
didn't
make
work
sense.
at all.
Now,
No, it didn't work at all.
if she turned to him and was like, "I think you mean Jamie," it's like, "Oh, racist bitch." Okay, no longer funny, but
Right.
it's
Right.
like I think if it was gonna, it seemed like they tried to set it up as a
think it
joke,
was
but
just
the
a
joke doesn't
subtle-
work in the frame of the
subtle
context.
It
delivery
was
there.
kind of a gut check, a little bit, kind of or like a kidney shot. It was a
Yeah.
kidney shot. It wasn't like right to the face, but it was just like a little right back there, just to let you know that these corporations are inherently racist, or at least a good chunk of America thinks that. I mean, a really big chunk of it.
Yeah. And it's really I don't know. I mean, it's more just they're just greedy assholes that are like, we can develop the shit out of that and make a ton of vacation tourist money off of it.
At the expense of.
Yes.
Yep. That's kind of how I took a little bit of the message here behind the whole thing.
Because it's 100% like what's happening in our country, but that's here nor there.
Correct.
Dude, but before even all that, when they're at the house, I just knew the sister was gonna be the hilarious comedy relief. And just gotta take a shit, bro.
What'd you say? A
Oh my
luxury
God.
shit.
Luxury
A luxury
shit.
Luxury shit.
That was glorious.
Yeah.
I am very surprised of the amount of shit talk, ass talk, and dick talk. that was in
100%.
this movie.
Dude, everyone she said, she's
100%.
like, when he came back in the suit, and he's like, oh, it was like when he was a little kid. And Rudy goes, it's because it's cold. It was so good. I was losing it, dude.
Oh,
Losing it. And she says, put those huevos away. That shit was so good.
The drop, I love too when they dropped him off and his uncle, like Lopez's character, just yeah, you're gonna get this job. You look like an asshole, just like the rest of all these.
Hi, man.
And the horn when he was doing it. Dude, that shit was so funny.
That was funny.
He said they don't get out much.
Yeah,
That shit was
I'll get
good.
out, man.
Oh my god. Oh, dude.
All right, but back to being after the suit. Yeah. I don't know. Thank God there wasn't a montage. You know, you don't need that. And it doesn't even. And it. Thank God too, just because it like that's the thing with this character. It doesn't even work because they did it right with the whole fact the Scarab does take him over and is like, "Let me be in control," and like the Scarab starts moving his body.
And that was the first fight when he was going against Carapace and
That's a lot of what usually happens in like. Especially like the Young Justice anime or cartoon, not anime. God, well, anime, sure, whatever. But that's like what happens. Is like the Scarab will at times be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take over. Like I'm taking over now." I don't know how prevalent that is in the comics, but I would assume that's where both materials getting it from.
Mhm.
So
Well, shit, you know those memes where they or the videos where they change a little bit of the story in Star Wars and it just cuts to the written and directed by George Lucas. Right after that first fight, at the very end, if she would have been like, it's like we're not. If you're like, I recommend lethal mode. Yeah, go ahead. Cut the scene. Cut to the credits. Cut to the credits because he just cut his head off.
But that's another good part about it, like you said,
Yeah.
is like, yeah, he's got that Peter Parker aspect to him where he wants to be good and he has a sense of morality, but then, yeah, he gets pushed over an edge and kind of becomes extremely violent. And that is something that usually the character of Jaime Reyes usually has.
Yeah.
Like, and typically, too, especially in Young Justice, he's usually arguing with the Scarab to not lethally kill people.
Yeah.
And because the Scarab's like, I don't give a single fuck.
Eliminate the
like,
the threat.
yeah,
you know,
the Scarab is usually all about like, nah, we're totally killing X person.
Yeah.
You know.
Scarab should have picked somebody from Jaime's family then.
Swear to God, Nana.
Nana and Uncle Rudy, dude. When Uncle Rudy stabbed that dude with the bug, and it
shook
stuck
the
to
leg.
him, and then he shook him off. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Dude, I remember his face. I looked over at him and he was like like hands on his face, mouth open, and I was sitting there. I'm like, because as soon as he's fucking stepped, I go, oh shit! And she
I
goes,
got PTSD from like Man of Steel. I was like, "Oh no!" I
dude,
was like,
shook that leg.
"We're gonna get so
Or
much
dude-
hate."
Or dude, when he says you're a superhero. I mean, dude, we lost it. I was weak. I think I closed my eyes for like 3 minutes laughing so hard. When he turns, he looks at me.
That
He goes,
might be my favorite moment in the whole
"You're a
just
superhero-
George
you're a
Lopez
superhero
moment.
now."
Shit was so great.
was great.
George Lopez was just great.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He
I
hit
loved it too. How
everything.
he just Batman's a fascist.
a fascist.
He's like Blue Beetle's cool. At least he at least had some humor to him.
Yeah.
Or something like such an Easter egg thing.
Oh yeah, it's all you people that somehow got butthurt about that comment being in the trailers. It's played for jokes in the movie, as you couldn't fucking tell already. But the whole point of Uncle Rudy is that he's like a conspiracy theorist, like to the max.
And apparently like a mechanical genius that just
That was a little
Th-
random.
That
That was a little
that
much.
that was the only hokey part I thought about
Of the
in the
movie.
movie.
That was
that
something
I
they
just have a
like.
disruptor in the back of my truck.
That is
because I gotta
something
perfect it.
I will. That was
on.
something.
Placed
I'm
the
glad you brought it
Mexican
up.
cartoon. And then the Mexican worker,
The security
starts
guard
laughing at it.
in the back. That shit was so good.
Dude, so good.
So good. Yeah, and he has to. That the shit was that was funny though. He has to kick everything to get it to fucking work. That shit was funny. Like the Fonz with
Oh,
everything.
is that what you were saying, Jay? Sorry.
Oh no, it was more. I agree that was one of definitely the movies where it was like, we're gonna need you to suspend your disbelief a little bit here. Like they kind of set it up very lazily in the beginning. It's like I can't remember how they did. Basically, that he's interested in tech and he like finagles and built his own stuff.
The truck was, I think, how they.
But
tried
the
to
truck,
introduce
I
it.
think, was however he had the trucks.
Yeah, like
Taco.
yeah.
That joke flew over my head until I think at one point he was like, quick
Tacoma.
in the Tacoma, and I was like, oh motherfuck, that's why I called it taco.
You didn't get that. Yeah, when he called it taco, I was just like, God.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked how the part of the movie had so many stereotypes to it, and they just embraced them and loved them all, and I thought that was amazing. Like with the family stuff and like the quinceañera, literally like a fiesta at the end and shit like that, and all these like stereotypes for like Hispanic culture, and you're like,
The only stereotype
nah.
they didn't fill was how they were like praying to fucking God when he's up on the ceiling turning into what looks like a devil. That's like the only stereotype of like Latin American culture they didn't fill is how they're usually super religious and they'd be doing a whole lot of this, watching that on their ceiling.
That's true. That is
Sorry,
very
I
true.
hate to. I wasn't gonna say it, but you brought it up about stereotyping them, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just bring this stereotype up.
Well, it was nice how they did it. It was tactful. It was tasteful. They joked about the because here's the thing: stereotypes exist for a reason. For white people, black people, Mexican people, Asian people, there's all stereotypes that exist for a reason. It's how you accept them and how you joke about them that makes them funny. And they did a very good job of it.
You trying to say I put mayonnaise on everything?
Because I fucking do too.
Because I do.
I do.
I
I want
fucking
a
hate mayonnaise.
I want a McMayo when I go there and I get my McChicken.
Dude, same.
I want a McMayo,
Same.
dude. That's what I want. I want the whitest thing possible.
And I think
Breaded, unseasoned chicken and mayo.
I think to your point, that's why it's like good that so much of the
God,
the
that sounds
cast,
so good. Now I want a McChicken.
so much of the cast and crew was Latin or Hispanic. Like
Mhm.
I mean, the director, obviously a bunch of the cast.
Yep.
I'm not 100% sure about the writer. Pretty sure I saw a picture of the writer. Looked pretty white. Could be mixed. I don't know.
He had some influence.
But I'm about to say at least very knowledgeable. I mean,
Oh, dude, they
I'm
did a
looking
great
right-
job.
yeah.
I mean, especially with, and that's the thing is, in Hispanic culture, family is just the nuclear family. I mean, there's kids in Mexican Hispanic families that live well beyond 30 with the family.
Oh, no,
unit.
yeah.
Did you catch? Yeah.
And they did that part.
Sorry.
This was a perfect movie to use this, especially with the family of Blue Beetle and how imperative that was in the storyline.
I will say like this. I'm kind of getting a little tired, especially with DC lately. I'm getting a little tired of like the family becoming like a part of it. In my head, it works with the Shazam family because they are the Shazam family. They did a way better job of it in the first movie than they did the second one.
Yeah.
But even in Black Adam, we're just like all of the people of the city are hitting these zombie fucking demon things with bats and just random
Broom handles.
objects. It's like everyone's a fucking hero in this movie. It's like I'm getting a little sick of that from DC. I'm glad you still did it for this movie though, because it works.
It did.
This is the one where it's like, okay, this is what you should have done at first, and then just kind of been done well, and then maybe do the first Shazam one because I did pop really hard when the Shazam film. I was like, you guys actually did it. But
And then they shit all over it.
and then yeah, but the family dynamic is really at the heart and the core of this movie, and it I think it works tremendously. I
liked the movie more for that than I did the actual superhero shit.
and what was cool is when Jaime gets
That's probably why it's a good movie.
captured.
That's why it's a good movie.
When
though.
Jaime gets captured, the fact that they had the balls to just be like, see you, Jaime, we're focusing on the family now
Yeah.
and how they're going to get to you now.
Yeah. And they
And-
spent the time, and it was effective time spent. It wasn't like a drawn out thing. They got to it, but they spent the time to give everybody kind of like that development we were talking about earlier.
I agree. Like, unlike, I liked Black Adam, but unlike Black Adam, when you get all those side characters come in, they have these getting their moment. It didn't feel earned in that movie.
Yep.
This movie, all those moments feel earned.
And dude, and it was so unexpected. Like Nana, when she's standing there with that Gatling gun, and she goes, "Why are you holding that so comfortably?" And she's like, "I'll tell you later."
There's a lot you don't know about
I
my
like
past.
it. Yeah, and then she's doing the plan prep, and she's like, "I've been here before."
Yeah,
like
when
on this island.
die,
and shit.
you imperialists!
Dude,
She's like,
that was
"Oh my
amazing.
God."
That was
That's-
amazing. I love that line so much.
Amazing, dude.
Real quick, did you catch the Easter egg in the buildings
LexCorp.
Yeah.
Oh no, I
Did you
didn't.
not? It
Must
was
not
it
have.
was behind the Cord building.
I will
Okay.
say that's one of them few Easter eggs that I'm like,
I sat there and I saw it, and I
that
was
better
like,
be like a secondary building, like a,
I saw-
because you're not really supposed to be there.
I mean, I saw it as the Easter egg, and I just saw it, and I was like, that just kind of makes me wish that like whoever the hell they want to just make cameo of the character.
And dude, honestly, this
Obviously didn't get it, but you know.
this city to me, to be completely honest, was new. I've never heard anything about this place.
I don't even know. Is it the city like that he usually is in for the comics?
So the city of Palmyra is a new. It's kind of funny. So the city of Palmyra, apparently, from what I've heard, was originally made for this movie.
Okay.
Like, was created for this movie.
Okay.
But in the recent adaptations of Blue Beetle, since those can be made quicker than a movie, it actually came out first in the newer comics.
Hmm.
So it now exists in the comics, but it's new. I think he's originally from El Paso. I think is where he was
yeah,
set.
I was gonna say in Young Justice he's in Texas.
Yeah, so it's
Which
probably
makes sense.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think actually, well, it does because I think they filmed a lot of this movie in Texas, and I think there were spots in
They did
Puerto Rico.
They
I
did
think.
film it, and I think they might have actually filmed it in El Paso.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It makes real sense then.
Yeah, I really like the style choice they went for Palmyra. It's very kind of Miami, very like almost like 80s Miami. You got like the synth,
cyberpunk Miami.
yeah, like the synth wave music, like,
And, like, the
which I really like. I
and,
like
like,
that
the-
style of music. So
And like the electro floating banners that
Mhm.
were like moving through the sky and around buildings and stuff.
in a weird way, it almost felt like this was
Oh.
a slightly in the future in a weird way. Just
Yeah.
the way it was set up, I was like, oh, that's a fancy
So
ass.
they
Like,
filmed
And just the
it-
town too.
Yeah.
Because he was coming from Gotham, where he went
Yeah.
to school.
Yep.
And you know,
Yeah.
obviously as we know Gotham, it doesn't look anything like that.
No.
so yeah, so it's like it's interesting that all the technology is here down in, I mean, probably right on the border, I would assume. That's probably what they're intending it to be, since it's of course in America, but as they alluded to, but it was pretty sweet. It was pretty sweet how they did it.
Yeah, filmed mostly in Atlanta Metro and Decatur, Georgia, and then Los Angeles,
Really?
and El Paso and Puerto Rico.
Dude, it must be insanely beneficial to
Georgia.
film in Georgia,
Oh, I
because there's a
bet.
lot of series.
I
That,
believe it is, and I can't remember the reason why, but I know that it is, and that's like why a lot of them do it.
dude, I mean, every small town in Georgia is probably associated with some series in some way. It's crazy. Like even like Knight Rider, like my hometown Conyers. Knight Rider was filmed 100% in Conyers. Yeah, like and when my parents were down there, they used to like see the actors around town. Like
I wonder if it's the same reason that a lot of like movies are getting filmed in like Canada too. Like a lot of like big, even like bigger movies are going to like Toronto and Quebec and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
there's got to be there's definitely some financial reason behind it of like it being cheaper somehow. Or
Australia too. I heard a lot.
yes,
of Australia.
Australia.
Apparently they get
getting really
big,
too.
they get big like tax incentives.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Because
Makes
I
sense.
wonder if like because you're filming it there, that's like where you're gonna be. Well, you're paying the taxes on the
Usually,
wages. and then-
usually you'd pay them for.
Oh well, there's probably that, but then you're also kind of bringing. You're bringing a bunch of crew and cast there, so that's you're booming up
the
their economy there while
Yeah.
you're there. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Trying to think of where
That's why you see it in a lot of
Um,
film credits. Like you'll see the Georgia logo where
Yeah,
it
the
says
peach.
Georgia,
Yeah.
the peach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where were we? We would have been. When they go to the.
Well, we kind of hopped around all over the place, but
Because she stole because obviously she stole Scarab. You got it. Then now, I think then they had their fight, the fight with Carapace, where
Oh yeah.
he whips Taco around and throws that thing out the back of it
hell
and
yeah.
smokes him. And I'm like, all right.
Dude,
he
totally
was-
realistic.
He was screaming like a motherfucker when Scarab took everything over.
He
Screaming.
screams a lot.
And then he goes and tries to reach for him, gets shit whipped into a fridge, and then now he's just this mech genius. Like when he sat down at the Blue Beetle's computer and just fucking gets into it. He's like, all right, let's figure out how to get this out of you. Like, just you went from just this dude sitting in a house with a mullet to like
Guy in the chair.
Computer genius. Yeah, the guy in the chair.
The guy in the chair.
Exactly. I'm like, come on, man. That's. I was like, come on, dog. Come on. But still hit on everything he was supposed to do. Still hit.
So the computer hacking bugged me less than him just being able to fly the ship. That was the part that I was kind of like, you had me with the hacks because he's just. I can see him being the dude that's always on his computer looking up
I
conspiracy.
didn't even care
it plays
anymore.
into it for me. That's the thing. It's like when he did that, I was like, oh, for Christ's sake, what can this guy not do? Like he's this comedian they bring in, and he's like, so he can create like disruptors that work remotely with security systems at the most technologically advanced place that's in control of the entire city.
They'll
Oh,
explain
I'm
it.
just gonna disrupt
They'll explain it in the second movie how he was like a sidekick to the Ted Cord Blue Beetle or something.
100%.
I was
waiting for that to happen.
I was in fact the original Booster Gold. In fact, oh my god,
Dude, I'm
I
telling you,
was the
dude.
original Booster Gold.
Dude, just see the subtle things that in this one, like when he comes up after he comes up on the side of him, he goes, "You stink," and he goes, "This is your shirt." It's so stupid. It's so funny, dude. Oh god, it's so funny. But shit. Shit. So then after that, what would that have been? That's when they go to the house, and then they're on the computer, all this shit, and they find out, and they reveal that he becomes one with them, with the machine, and then he'd have to kill him. And
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
be in this thing forever. No,
Yep.
just until you die.
no, just until you die.
And
The good news is that it protects you and it keeps you alive. The bad news is that you can't remove it unless you die.
so I'm wearing this thing forever. Well,
No,
not forever.
Not forever.
Just until you're
until-
dead.
just-
Which, you know, I mean, obviously a little freaky, but if that shit happened to me in real life, I'd be fucking pumped. If that thing selected me. Let's go. When he was looking in the mirror and that fucking cut that he had, like the blue kind of went in and healed it. I thought it would have been cool with the black shit that was in his mouth if that would have like came out and fucking went back in and healed him up. That would have kind of been
I wonder if they maybe like did like a pass trying that and they're like, looks too much like Venom.
That was my
Probably.
follow up. Is it could have possibly the symbiote went a little too far. The symbiote idea.
A little too symbiote, all right.
Yeah.
Let's reel it back to alien technology, please.
Yes. Yeah. So then they changed that.
Heavy
shit to
emphasis on the tech.
blue. Changed that shit to blue.
I did like to the opening credit crawl going like it showed you like it didn't show you like where, but it was showing the multiple scarabs that got sent out into the universe because that's like the whole thing behind it.
It's pretty
And you
sweet.
saw the green one
Mhm.
that I think goes to Mars. So
They also in the newspaper clippings they referred to both original Blue Beetles and how
well, okay, so then even so then
and
to
both
that-
suits and both of the suits are actually in what is he called? Probably
Well, doesn't he
the
say
bug bed.
well,
That's what it's called now. I don't care what it's actually called. That's what it's called now. They fucking went back to the bug bed.
when he said
That's what it's
Bug
fucking called
bed.
now. I don't care what, forever and for always. It is the bug bed now. It could be the nest. It could have been anything. Bug bed. It is.
the bug bed.
Oh, the bug farts out of the machine. That was funny.
When he's sitting in the chair,
That was
though,
one of them things
I
where
know,
I was
I
like,
know.
oh boy,
Doesn't
step
he
too far
say
for
By
me.
funny, I
the
mean not at all.
name Garrick?
What's that?
When he's explaining to Jaime about how the scarab's attached to him, doesn't he say the name Garrick or something? He said like a different name, like that wasn't Ted Cord. He said like you said, like
Was
there-
it Gareth?
maybe Gareth. I thought he referred to the other Blue Beetle, like that wasn't Ted, and that's how he's saying how he like getting into that computer. That's how he found out that the thing is like merging with him.
I might have missed that line. But see, the only
I think I
reference
missed
that I remember of,
So who's the other original Blue Beetle? Like, what's the name?
I imagine you'd be right because it's Dan Garrett.
I think he said Garrett.
So that would make sense because I saw I saw
goes
Garrett
like
in the newspaper clippings. I just never remembered hearing.
I'm pretty
his
sure
actual
when
name.
he's explaining it to him, he said, "Yeah, this Garrett guy, it fused with him," and he was saying,
Oh no, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
how
I missed
he
the
knew.
name drop. I guess I missed
Yeah.
his name, but yeah, they
Yeah.
so
he
yeah.
said it quick."
So Garrett is technically like the mentor to Ted Cord, and
Mhm.
yes, the symbiote in the comics actually did bind to him and took to him as a host.
Because
But
Ted Cord never did in this movie, right? That's what they said.
no, and it doesn't in the comics.
Okay.
And
either.
it doesn't, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he
'Cause,
literally does actually, like in the comics, the Ted Cord just makes the gear.
Because
Attack.
the original one is his mentor, and then when he dies, he tries to get the scarab to then attach to him, but it never does.
Okay.
So then he becomes the Blue Beetle out of memory of his mentor, but he's not attached to the scarab like the original was. And then
What was the
when
scarab's
Jaime
name?
gets it, he becomes the first one to bind with it again since Garrett.
What was the scarab's name again? It was. They kept saying it over and over again, but I always missed it.
Is it Caraplax or something like that? I can't
Well,
remember.
that was
that's
the-
not.
Or no, that's
No,
Caraplax.
no,
No,
the-
it starts with a K though. I think.
It's yeah, it does begin with a K. It's like on the tip.
Carapax.
Yeah, Carapax is the villain.
I can't remember. I kept hearing it, and I kept trying to listen.
the indestructible man.
And I kept trying to. Well, fucking that motherfucker looked like he came straight out.
Kajida.
That's it.
Gosh, yeah.
That's it.
Kajida.
And then of course Carapace looks like fucking Destiny character, 100%.
He reminded, dude. Again, speaking of hodgepodge of superhero movies, to me, like at the end when he's got the whip out, all I could think was Whiplash from Iron Man 2. I was like, that's Whiplash.
I
It's
literally
the
almo-
same thing.
I almost looked over at you and said, Iron Man 2?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. When he got the whip out and he hit him, I was like, that's Whiplash. Iron Man 2 just looks cooler.
this looks cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, the action sequences in this were fucking sweet.
You know, fuck you. I'll say this movie's better than Iron Man 2. I fucking said it.
That's.
But
so-
y'all went and saw that piece of trash,
very,
didn't you?
very difficult to do. So difficult to do. Yeah.
Yeah. At least they went and watched that.
Yeah.
Well, that was 13 years ago.
I know.
We kind of had to.
That's true.
Whereas again, nowadays, I could just theoretically wait 2 months if I wanted.
It's true. Shit, you don't have to wait anymore. You just stream shit illegally like everybody else does, apparently.
Yeah. Fuckers.
People get that shit the next day,
Yeah.
like full HD.
That's on the people that are working for the. That's disgruntled employees that work for these studios, and they get their hands on a
Good copy.
a good digital copy, and they flush it out there.
Yeah, because a lot of them are in different languages and stuff, which to an extent I know sometimes release dates are a little bit different in certain areas, but not that fucking different.
Right.
I can't remember the last thing.
So we're past when they're in the bug bed.
The bug bed. Yeah, that's right.
Bug bed. Bug bed. And what was it? They're all getting ready, and then the family's house gets blown up, and the dad has the heart attack,
Yeah.
and he gets taken away because they have this claw that apparently.
It's Jaime's canon event.
Okay. Okay. So that's a thing now. The canon. event.
That's a thing. Yes, that is
That's
a
a
thing,
thing now.
now.
Fuck, I see that all over TikTok too. It's fucking everywhere. Like canon event and
'Cause
shit
we
like that.
love Across the Spider-Verse.
I know. I love those. I do, but
I'd
still.
have the guy's autograph on a Miles Morales pop, but he wanted cash only, so I was like, yeah, turn around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like one of the very few ones there, cash only. I was just like later then.
What is it? A fucking dive bar? Jesus Christ! Money.
Everyone else took a credit card payment, and he was just like cash only. And I
That's
was
the
like,
dumbest shit. Come on,
Yeah.
dude.
I was
Come
like,
on,
you're not
dude.
that important to me. You ain't Toby or Andrew.
My
You're
money's-
not that important to me.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's make believe money or if it's cash money. Money's money. Damn it. I hate that shit. But be that as it may. but
Back to it.
But
Canon event. Dad
Canon
has a
event.
heart attack.
yep,
Yeah.
has a heart attack, which definitely was a canon event because later we get that fucking whole world between worlds fucking scene where he's fucking out on in the island in the middle of this fucking vast area
Dude, he's
between
dying.
That scene not work for you?
Well, it was.
Good God,
They
yeah.
keep reaching. They keep reaching for this multiverse shit, and they just keep just shoving it right there, and it's almost played out to me to an extent.
What?
I didn't take that as a multiverse. thing at
No,
all.
I just took that as he was dying and he
Well,
was about to step into the afterlife, and his dad was like, "You gotta go back."
It's basically the same thing that happened to Rocket in Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Dude, every scene looks the fucking same. So
Hodgepodge of superhero movies.
it all looks the fucking same. So I knew there wasn't actually a multiverse thing, but that's kind of the way that it's set up to look. Like it looks like fucking Master Roshi's fucking like the fucking planet in the middle of nowhere.
King Kai.
Whatever,
Yes.
fucking Roshi. I'm sorry. Yes, King Kai. Whatever.
Mhm.
And but same concept. It just all seems to so played out in those moments. You know, there's so many other ways you can do that, and I feel like I've seen the same scene so many times, especially Multiverse of Madness. It looked like it was ripped right out of that, and just new people were put into it. Opening scene, to be honest.
Well, I don't know. Scene worked for me.
I didn't.
But-
dis-
Yeah,
I didn't. I didn't
worked
just.
for me.
I didn't hate it. It just seems like it's getting played out a little bit. They're just. That's my only opinion on it.
I don't know. I have a weird perspective. I feel like, to me, I can watch any movie and I can be like, seen this scene before, seen this scene before, seen this scene before. Because almost every movie takes inspiration from something, and there's only so many stories you can tell in like a 2-hour period. Granted, this movie does a very heavily job taking inspiration from other
Oh
projects.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it does it pretty well. I'll be honest, and admit it, I'm always probably going to be a sucker for a son and father scene like that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
always eat that shit up. I'm super close with my dad. Those scenes always usually hit home for me. I think they did a great job with that. I also think they did a really great job at another scene that kind of hit me out of nowhere was... No, that actually
was-
annoyed me. That was one of them
that
ones
was-
So
where
the
I was
scene
like,
didn't hit. Damn it! It didn't hit 100%.
No, that was hilarious.
I mean, God. Okay, Adam Warlock.
That part of it.
Dude, it's making fun of fucking what's the name of the painting? Like
Is that the moment of creation or whatever?
yeah, it's just that was hilarious. It's just like this godlike power and then man, just that I thought it was fucking hilarious. I don't even think it was supposed to be meant as a joke, and I just was like, that's fucking funny that they're just doing the figure touch of the moment of creation, just God and Adam just touching. I thought that was hilarious.
I would have if the last movie we didn't go see in theaters didn't do the same fucking thing.
But that movie too did it as a total fucking joke.
I know.
I mean,
I get it. Hey, I'm not discounting that part of it, but still.
all right.
I'll be honest. I didn't
Haters.
really like that scene in Guardians 3, and I was kind of like, oh, here we go. We're referencing this painting again in another superhero movie.
Gunn and his damn moment of creations.
But the scene,
Yeah, that was in the final edits.
Yeah.
Gunn was like, no,
No.
I'm telling you guys, this will hit.
Do this.
the crowd loved it in Guardians 3. They'll go for it again.
Yeah. Double down. Double down.
But prior to him referencing the painting, I think that scene worked. But for me, another scene that I think that was like a pretty like emotional scene that worked for me was when he's sitting talking to Jenna Cord, and she's talking about how you look at this house as it's so great,
It's just stuff.
but it's just stuff.
That
like
was awesome.
your house is full of love and family and all that stuff,
That one.
and
hit.
she did a fucking.
Incredible.
I don't know. I've never seen her in anything before. I think her
No.
name's Bruna.
No, that's
Bruna?
like this is her
What
debut.
was it again?
I think her first name's Bruna
Bruna.
something.
Bruna Marquezine. Yeah, we know.
Jesus Christ.
No, this
Oh.
is like her debut movie, I think, and she actually is Brazilian, so that's pretty cool.
She killed
They
it.
even said in
But
the
she did
movie
a-
how she was Brazilian.
She did a great job.
No, that hit for me too, just because it's like always so true in society of like how when you grow up in poverty or like borderline, your family lives like paycheck to paycheck. You grow up wanting material things and to have like a grand luxurious lifestyle to where you don't have any like worry about financial stability. And then on the flip side of that is usually most people that do grow up and have all the material things that are financially stable, set for life, trust fund kids, whatever, deep down in secret, they're usually unhappy and usually their families are like fucking nightmares.
Oh yeah.
And
What's all this stuff if you have nobody to enjoy it with?
exactly. And that's
You know?
like, you know, that's why it hits for me, because it's just like they established it too in the movie with Jaime, like how he was like very, you know, cultural in the mindset of like, I have to go to school and do all this stuff for my family, and like how he makes the comments of like, I was supposed to go get rich so then I could pull you guys out of poverty and we could live wealthy, and
In that same style
You know.
of house that they were having that conversation in.
yeah.
That was the part that I actually kind of liked
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Like, I loved how, like, then he meets this woman that he's just mesmerized by from her beauty, and
Bull
she's-
can't blame him one bit.
and right, and she's, you know, and she has all this stuff, and she kind of tells him on the flip side, like,
Unforgivable things, Jordan.
you're,
Unforgivable. Unforgivable things.
such unforgivable things, like he would let a scarab crawl up his ass.
Oh, dude, I'd take all the scarabs.
Crawl up his ass. Oh, man. Anyways,
Culo.
but yeah, I
Culo,
just,
sir.
yeah,
Culo. Culo.
Culo. Dude, you guys, I mean, can we speak it? No, but I know those things they were saying and the translation caption, it's like, that's not what that person said.
Not all of it. A lot of it was spoken.
I'm sorry, I know what mijo means, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, a lot of it.
that doesn't translate to that.
Well,
like,
they didn't do full translations. They did it in a
No,
way that
they
yeah,
absolutely did.
yeah. They just did like spoken, like what you need to know what he was trying to put across. That's
yeah,
it.
the directors and them were just, hey, say something relatable in this atmosphere in Spanish to each other. We're just gonna caption over it anyway.
Well, and that
with
and,
what we want.
well, that too, and it's like,
Like-
when you hear somebody that speaks that and it's their native tongue, it doesn't. Okay, perfect example. One of my good buddies speaks it fluently and
Mhm.
took Spanish in high school because why wouldn't you? It's a free pass. Motherfucker failed because it's not traditional Spanish.
I mean, I grew up with a friend that, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
his family, they were from Mexico, so they were Mexican, and that's the thing, is like, yeah, he thought, oh, free pass. Well, no, because guess what, dude?
You're speaking
This-
dirty Spanish.
Yeah, the Spanish that they teach in schooling is the Romantic period
Mhm.
Spain Spanish.
Yes.
That sounds just like French.
Romance
that sounds,
language.
Yeah, that sounds just like Italian, and
Mhm.
it's like loosely all together.
It's all based off
because
Latin.
they're all from this same region of
Latin.
the world.
Latin.
Yeah, and I too knew someone who took that approach and then failed out of it.
Yeah,
And it's like-
that's what he would always say. Because I remember he would always get so mad because he would tell the teacher, he'd be like, "What I'm saying is not wrong."
She'd
It's
probably
just-
be like, "Yeah, you're right, but
it's not what I'm looking for."
It's not what I'm teaching and
Yep.
looking for."
Yep,
and
exactly.
Yeah,
He always said, I'm speaking dirty Spanish and they're speaking clean Spanish.
yeah.
And I was like, huh. It's like, that's interesting. And you could tell in this, like when they'd say things that just rolled off the tongue, it would just be like, yes. Or, like,
Right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
like you knew they were saying things, and then the caption was just like, "Yes, come on." And
Yeah.
I was like, "That's not at all what they said right there."
And
I was like,
and I thought it was even funnier when Soranda and she goes, "Andale," and they didn't fucking do it. I was like, "Come on, man!" I was like, "That was it was actually pretty perfect the way they did it." Andale, and they didn't.
Who was the face of the big evil?
Oh, they didn't
corporation?
translate it.
They didn't at all. It just said "Andale," and they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I was like, "That's perfect." But
In case you didn't know, we were trying to say this person's a dick.
yeah,
This person's an absolute asshole.
If you didn't know, now you know.
Now you know they're an asshole.
Oh, what was there else? I mean, there was
obviously, after the kidnapping happened, they all get together and then they go to that island, just out in it's like a fortress.
Well, yeah, because they caught Jaime with the claw thing that neutralized the scarab power.
Which
So then he gets hauled off, and then, yeah, that's when I think Jay alluded to it, how instead of focusing so much on what's going on with his character, that's when they kicked it to the family and the heroine, and it's kind of like, let's kind of see how they respond and react now, and just hilariously go grab a bunch of weapons and get up on them.
hilarious. The fucking the shield and the fist that she has.
The flying scarab that was...
Farting
I just
on
kind of...
everybody.
Honestly, I'm like thinking on it, and all I'm kind of picturing along with it is the fucking owl from Watchmen.
So funny you bring that up. Alan Moore, who wrote The Watchmen, used to write for Blue Beetle, and I can't remember what the team-up team was at the time, but there was a certain story he wanted to do with those characters, and DC wouldn't let him, so he created The Watchmen, and so the Owlmobile, or the Owl ship, is
Yeah.
based off of Blue Beetle ship, because
That's awesome.
literally
That is
what-
sweet. That's pretty sweet. Everything about the Watchmen's fun.
This is the goat, because he's the goat.
But they have their moment. They have their like you said, they had their moment where he loses control and everything when he's fighting Lopez after they did the transfer.
Yeah,
Um,
the data
Oh yeah,
code
because he thinks
transfer.
Uncle Rudy is dead now.
yeah,
That's true.
so that about sends him to the edge until that fucker's just on the bottom of the ship, just rubbing his beard.
Dude,
I was dying.
see at the and that's why I think at the end
Yeah, just
my belief was still suspended, because when it just ended on that, I'm like, yeah, he's just it's George Lopez. He's a fucking badass.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's-
I don't
yeah.
care. He can do whatever he wants this goddamn movie.
Yeah, he's not dying. And apparently, he's just this fucking super genius. You know,
I'm telling you, dude. I guarantee they will retcon that shit in the sequel. I guarantee they do.
dude. I swear to you, I thought at the end when she got him the truck that she was gonna hire him to be something for her.
Yeah,
I
that would have made sense.
That's what I thought was gonna happen, because when she like throws something to him and then he pulls up its keys, I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, a little more approachable, a little more feasible than, oh, you're just this random dude in this house that knows how to do all this wild shit. Just so happens.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a big important job doing tech shit from this giant company that which he probably wouldn't do anyway. But
What do you not
And
like?
I
What do you not like it? The color's a little spot on.
yeah.
Come on, guys, come over and help me like it a
Help
little
me
more.
like it. Yeah, I like that. Help me like it.
Help me like
I
it.
thought it
it's
was
blue.
I thought it was. I mean, granted, I understand it because again, they like the brain waves sync and then they become one. But when
he was Super
when he was
Leia.
going to kill the guy and the scarab stops him, I was like, yeah. From what I've seen of iterations of Blue Beetle, that scarab would have been all gung ho to kill that fucking dude. So,
yeah. That I was a little.
but again, I kind of
Okay.
get it because if they got on the same wavelength, the scarab's kind of like, well, you shouldn't do this because this
Right.
is wrong.
and they learned
That's-
something from
And I
him,
did like how it-
Yes, that is
that's how I
100% how I took it, but I'm 100% on board with you. When that happened initially, I was like, that's not how that would have went.
Right.
That's
and even,
not
and
how
even in
it
the
would've
beginning
went.
of the movie, when she's like, I recommend lethal force.
Yeah.
I recommend lethal force. And at
Yeah.
the end, I'm like, that's why I said, I was kind of like, eh. And then I'm like, okay, well, he learned something. The scarab learned something from him.
Exactly.
finally.
And I do think that, yeah, once
And I did like
Jaime
how-
opened up to fully getting the symbiotic relationship, yes, I agree. That's the way I at least took it as well.
That's
is
how
that
I took it. Yeah.
that she ended up learning something from him, but
did
it's
like
still
how
the thing that does strike me really weird is he is so about
Sorry.
not killing, but all of the the family just.
Kick their ass.
So where did he learn that from, honestly? Because nobody else in this family gives a shit. They're just like, oh, you fuck with the family, you're fucking dead,
The
dog.
college graduate.
Yeah, dude,
law
he-
graduate.
Yeah, dude. He went and learned.
Like, guys, come on.
He's like, I'm gonna get popped for this.
He lived bro, he was going to school in Gotham. He was watching the Batman. He was like, well, Batman gets pretty hardcore, but he never kills people. You know what? That's a good thing.
You know, that is true. He did go to school in Gotham. He's like, yeah, this Batman's pretty fucking cool, man.
I liked when he was always talking about flying, and he says, "Superman flies." I don't fly. I like that. That was a
Yeah.
pretty good reference.
I did
Now that
like
you
too
say
how
that.
it did. I mean, granted, it was at the very end, and it's like last second, and that was like the montage moment in the movie. But I did like how like it humanitized Carapax to where like you actually then felt for the villain.
And it was cool how
It
she
was
unlocked
very quick.
and she unlocked all of his memories that had been suppressed for all that time, and that was sweet. That was pretty cool. That was a good concept that they did to kind of bring him, instead of just this bad guy finding the error in his ways. He actually remembered what really happened and brought it back.
drags that bitch to hell.
He blows himself up. Fuck this shit.
I also thought it was kind of cool that, normally you do when people do flashbacks like that, they'll start from like the earliest point in the story. This started from like most recently and went backwards. I thought that was kind of cool that they kind of changed that up a little. Yeah, overall, fuck that bitch. Glad he dragged her to hell. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Fuck that bitch. FDB. Vote AB.
Then it cuts over to then we get to the part where Uncle Rudy gets the truck from Jenna, and then Jaime takes her off. So, hey, you want a little bit of privacy here, girl? Come on, ma. Over here.
Yeah, he does. Yes, he does.
God.
I sense blood rushing to your midsection.
Stop!
Oh, dude, I liked when they're on the bed and he goes to stand up, he's doing this. He's covering himself in the like when they brushed in, he was covering his crotch with the shirt when he got up.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I started cracking up. Yeah, as soon as when they were about to kiss and Rudy interrupted him, he stood up and he was covering himself.
Yeah, this movie does not shy
Oh my
away
God, I
from
forgot about that.
Jaime's
Was so funny.
boners.
Her mom died.
Yeah,
that was
I
fucking
forgot. Oh
so
my god.
funny.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
We
That
weren't
part
doing
was
anything.
great.
Her mom died.
Her mom died.
So good.
So good.
So stupid.
Dude, I was so surprised. I didn't think that I'd be laughing for basically the entire movie.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
like
that was kind of surprising to me too.
Never thought that. That was awesome.
All right. Do you want to give it a score? Is there anything else you wanted to kind of speak on the spoiler review?
No, I want to see another one.
yeah, I would like to see another one. That's why I highly recommend you guys please go out and see this movie because
They need the money and they need the incentive really to keep going.
that's really it. And apparently they've already come out and said, well, if this movie doesn't really do well, we're not gonna look into doing another Latino superhero movie. Really, it's gonna be harder to get the budget at least. And it's just like you guys are snake little pieces of shit,
It had
but
nothing to do with the fucking Hispanic aspect of it.
it's like
It's the culture right now that's the problem.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. Please, like this movie, like it's so much better than Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Oh
So
God.
It's
So good.
It's arguably better than Flash.
I liked the Flash. I think this movie's more consistent.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a complete movie too.
I think I would notch just a little bit above the Flash, honestly.
Yeah.
Better than Black Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like Black Adam too.
and I thought Black Adam's a good time. I was like, hey, nothing special, but
I feel like Dave Portnoy about to give a 9 score on the pizza thing.
I mean, I would say that you're talking about for Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would give it a 9. I was gonna say I'd give this a 9
oh my.
I was
because I really enjoyed it.
if we're getting down to the decimal, I was gonna probably be in the 9.293 area because you know that I can't.
You know that I have to leave somewhere.
Yeah, dude.
But
Whatever.
nothing will ever
Sure.
get a 10 unless it's Revenge of the Sith.
Or The Dark Knight. Yeah.
Well, if it's Nolan, it's always got a chance.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I guess real quick. Post credit scene. We're not gonna talk about the second one. We didn't see it. It's a reference to that old superhero TV cartoon that they referenced in the show, where they cut to the security team. And
Oh yeah.
it's another reference to that again. But the first one, Ted Cord, or we go back to the bug
They
bed.
say it. Yes.
And the computer turns on. We hear Ted. Well, I'm assuming Ted Cord is coming through, basically saying, "Hey, let Jenna Cord know that her dad still lives." So please, once again, go see this movie so we can get a second one, so I can get my boy Ted Cord on screen. Hopefully, Jason Sudeikis. That's what the rumors around the.
It was cool. They showed it was coming from a satellite too, like a satellite transmission.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
it
when it
did.
was showing like where it was where it was sourcing the video feed from, it was like some external satellite.
Word.
So he's stuck somewhere.
But
Yeah.
I need my boy. I'm glad we got Jaime, but I need my boy Ted too.
Listen,
Teddy!
DC fans, if you let down the rest of your universe by not supporting this and allowing it to have a second attempt, you're doing yourselves a disservice. And don't talk shit when they don't make it and go, well, they're not coming out with anything good. Well, I wonder why, because they're not wasting their money on you.
My.
Solid,
I mean,
solid
keep
facts.
preaching. I agree 100% with that. I think I'm gonna land at around an 8.3.
8-3. Good old 8-3.
It's a
Good
one.
old 8-3.
I think it's a great movie, at least as a fan. Maybe if I watch it again, like the more film critic side of me might give it like in like a 6 or a 7.6 range. But as a comic book fan, I had a great time. I had a lot of great laughs. I'm looking forward to seeing this again, whether it's I decide to go in theaters again or if I, eventually get too busy and just don't have time until it comes out on streaming. But please go see this fucking movie, please. I swear to God, if I fucking go to work Monday and the first article I see is Blue Beetle only makes $15 million, I'm gonna be so goddamn pissed.
Remember when it was 94%? Well, now it's like 70 something. It's not fresh anymore.
That's what I'm like sitting here like, okay, so if it falls below like a 75% on critic rating, do they just revoke the certified fresh?
You're not fresh anymore.
I think they do. If you fall below the percentage somehow, they'll just be like, sorry.
You ain't so
you're
free.
No
Wow.
longer fresh.
What a
Yeah.
time to be what a
Past
thing.
your expiration date, dog.
Yeah, what a
Your
thing.
best by date is past.
We'll just be like, man, remember that movie dropped and it was certified fresh immediately, but then no one saw it, so they just ripped it. It's like,
Oh, like the rest of your fucking movies. Okay. DC. I mean, if they garnered the support if they garnered the same support as they did on Twitter talking shit about fucking James Gunn as opposed to this, then they'd be fucking taking off and popping off by now.
The meme of showing like a crowded theater or whatever, and it says DC fans online, and then it says DC fans in theaters, and it's an empty theater. I'm like,
Dude.
nothing is more true than that fucking
I
meme
swear to
right there.
God. And I'm
Yeah.
on Twitter now, and now I fucking start to see it. Is they bitch at each other. If you spent half that energy and put it into going to see a fucking movie,
oh yeah, dude. That's why it's frustrating.
and that's the thing is I haven't been on Twitter at all or X. I'm sorry.
X gonna give it to you.
Suck it. Fuck it. Suck. But now that I'm on there, dude, it's almost kind of.
Welcome.
I mean, it's irritating.
Welcome.
Thanks for that,
Welcome to
fuckers.
Yeah. Welcome
I got-
to constant shit posting hate.
Dude, I literally just every time.
That hey has always been there, despite what one side of the aisle wants to preach and say how has only been apparent since a certain individual bought it. No, it's always fucking been there.
Depending upon what camp you're in, you're always bitching about something. Somebody is, somebody's bitching in one
No
part.
truer statement of that.
It depends on what camp you're in. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down.
Yeah,
That's it.
but welcome to the hate.
Yeah, I already turned off my Twitter notifications, so
Dude, don't do that.
I hate people.
Dude, but sports and gambling, you need those notifications.
I don't gamble anymore, man.
But
I don't.
right now, give it a month. We all know it starts soon.
No, because last year bit me hard. Because dude, even the
'Cause
obvious.
you gamble and you're like, man, I thought I knew football.
Well, dude,
Apparently, I don't know shit.
dude, even the sure things anymore. There's so much parity in college sports now because of NIL.
Dude,
Forget about it. Forget about it. And I don't like really
I
watching
don't
the
like betting
NFL.
on
So
I don't like betting on college because college football games, it's like,
anything can happen.
no, it's because
Can't let Bama lose this game.
Oh fuck!
You're right
I've heard
there.
that. I've heard that fucking story. Tale as old as time.
Hell yeah, dude. Fuck Texas.
Fuck Texas.
For the
problem
first
with
time
college-
in a long time, Kevin, I agree. I agree, Kevin.
The thing with college is like, it's tough to gamble on because the games to gamble on that are close on the lines for for decent payouts from what your bet you're placing, it's those games are the ones like you said where like because it's college, it's really up in the air that either team could win the game.
And,
Even though this
yeah.
one's favored by 3.5.
And you
It's
have-
like,
and you have to-
it very easily the underdog could blow that team out.
and you have to put down so much money to make money on any kind of bets. Unless you pick the underdog of the day, that's how you'll make your money. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you have to put $500 down on a minus 220 to get any return on the
And
investment.
even though it's like a for sure thing that Alabama's going to kill that cupcake, you're still kind of sweating bullets. Like, oh my god, they are gonna win, right? Yeah, like it's a for sure thing. It was minus 6,000 odds, right? Like this should be a free $5.
Brother,
like what the fuck,
brother, we went to fucking Georgia and Mizzou, so
right. That's what I mean. Then you're sweating. You start sweating bullets. You're like, what the fuck's going on?
I'm like, oh, perfect
Am I
season.
gonna
Right.
lose?
I'm like, I'm gonna go down there and fucking sit pretty for this fucking ass whooping, and I'm like, yeah, there was an ass whooping
That's
that took
like-
place, and
dude,
there's
that's
not how
like
I fucking
why-
saw it happen in the first half.
That's like again. That's why when there are those random underdog victories over a major school, it's like those articles come out like, dude loses $20,000 on bet, and it's like, yeah, because he thought he was gonna get like a free 5,000
It's
or
like-
whatever.
It's like there's nowhere, that's the thing. There's no recovering from that for people like me. it's
Right.
It's like I put a G bar down on like the most sure thing possible, a plus or a minus 900 Bama win, and then all of a sudden,
That's
fucking
the-
UT Martin comes in and fucking just wins by a last second field goal or a safety or something, or fucking one of those fucking plays where they throw the ball out of the back of the end zone, fumble it into the end zone, and it goes the other direction. It's like what the fuck? Like all this shit happens in one quarter and you just lose.
That's why I just gamble on player props in the NFL.
Yeah.
Not who's gonna win, not who's gonna cover. Fuck that shit. No, I just bet on performances that players are hopefully gonna have.
I do small parlays now. Like on Sundays, I'll pick like 5 games, 6 games. and
That's
I'll-
what I'm
and I
gonna
just-
start doing.
And I just put a couple bucks
My-
down and do pick'ems, and
I might do
I'm not
that.
losing a bunch of money.
Might start doing that.
Because basically how I've been the last 2 years, I had a good couple years.
The Chargers are not playing a single starter all preseason, so pick the Dolphins to beat them week 1. Is how I'm going to approach that.
You-
As a Packers fan, I've seen this before. Trust me.
Yeah. Hammer at home.
That's actually glass.
Hammer it.
Glass.
Yeah, hammer at home. Now, I had a good couple years. I made a lot of money gambling, and then all of a sudden, it's like I couldn't gamble my way out of a fucking wet paper bag. so basically, how I feel is $1 spent is $1 lost, and I'd rather spend it on something that I get to keep, or I get to drink, or I get to eat. I'll take
True.
that. But
It's the only sport I gamble on.
see, I was out of control, dude. I was
No,
betting
I
on horse
fucking-
racing. I was betting on fucking Kosovo hockey league. I was betting on everything.
Horse racing's so dangerous.
Oh, brother, I almost
Uh,
won fucking big time, but I forgot to hit bet. That was a classic moment in my life. There's my fucking canon event.
But I hate that.
My beginning of my villain arc.
His canon event is that he's always supposed to bet on this horse to win, and he's supposed to win big, but he doesn't actually submit the bet.
Didn't hit fucking bet, and he won.
And he won.
And it was like 20-something grand. Yep. The Preakness a couple years ago.
Shit.
Yeah. Like 23 grand.
I just cannot bet on any other sport other than football. Like, I've tried to bet on basketball. Always get fucking burned. Baseball, same thing.
Baseball is impossible. The only thing I've ever bet on in baseball is I bet the under on runs scored in the first inning. That's the only
Well,
way.
that's usually pretty easy money. So
It
yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
is. But you have to put up a fucking certain amount for it to be worth it now, because Vegas isn't fucking a bunch of idiots sitting out there. They know they know
Right.
exactly what people are doing. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
what's that under? One. Like half a run. Oh, so you just want to be a no-no the whole fucking first inning?
You've seen that. You've seen that fucking TikTok of the guy, the union.
Own a fucking union.
First pitch guaranteed strike. Okay, here we go. Down another 1,000, motherfucker! Dude, Corey and I, Corey just kept, when we were out at the music festival, we just kept laughing about it. We just sit there and play that on repeat. We just
Dude,
hearing that dude, down 1,000, motherfucker!
dude, he is gold.
That
Dude,
is
him
so funny.
just existing is gold. That fucking guy. Ugh.
All right, do you want to review Harley Quinn?
Well, we have Harley Quinn and Adventures of Superman.
Oh, cool. And it's fucking midnight.
Do you just want to double down next episode?
Up to you guys.
I would rather double down. And that's more stuff for us to talk about. We obviously didn't have a problem with that today.
It's good God, I usually go to bed 2 hours ago, so I'm good with either at this point.
I mean, it's up to you guys.
Well,
it's just next week.
terribly, we really, can't remember you and I can't really remember the Harley Quinn episode from the last week. I only remember this week's because I just watched it yesterday. Oh. No. Wait. Excuse me.
I'll say 2 weeks ago was when Harley got her eye surgery.
She got her eye surgery, and then Barbara goes missing.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to find Barbara, and at the beginning of the episode, Jim and his wife are in a cabin, out in the wilderness, but it's winter time, so there's snow everywhere. And what was the joke is he's just, you don't have to have, he's you don't have to fuck your wife. You don't have to fuck your wife. He sees a job ad to be a security guard for the Legion of Doom. So he's
Who is this?
Jim Gordon.
Oh, okay.
So he's retired from the police force, but he's he doesn't really want to be spending this time with his wife is the joke.
That's funny.
He wants a way out, and so he sees this ad to be a security guard for the Legion of Doom, so he just goes flocking to it. And I'm pretty sure the voice line is he's running to get in this car, he's you don't have to fuck your wife. You don't have to fuck your wife. Something like that. But yeah, the episode just proceeds that Harley needs eye surgery bad, so she goes and she gets it. And Jim goes to be a security guard. The Johns are Ivy's PR team, so then they start PRing her up. And then I think she just basically kind of eventually gets annoyed with them.
Yeah, she gets annoyed, just basically destroys herself publicly, PR wise, and they freak out and they all merge into one giant.
Well, that was
gem
that
or
was
whatever.
this week's episode. Yeah, that was good. Yeah,
Was it this one?
yeah, that was this week's episode. Because then she
Oh,
has
yeah.
because that's when she makes up to the other three women, Volcana and Taryn, and the third one that I don't remember who the hell she is. She makes it up to them. The natural disasters is what they call themselves. She makes it up to them and debuts them to the public when she purposely wrecks this PR stunt. And these Johns form into a giant human. Stupid. It's so stupid. I don't even know. I honestly kind of wondered if it was going to be another Clayface sighting, just because they literally form together and.
That's what I thought too. Is it might have been
Yeah.
Clayface, and then it ended up not being. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that was about. Then. But,
Yeah, didn't know what it was about really. And then the natural disaster chicks all control different elements, and then they fight the giant dude. And the way they win is the one girl gets. She mind controls king sharks' children, these baby sharks, to jump out of these pods, and they fly down the dude's mouth, and so then they eat him from the inside out. That's how they beat the guy.
That's
yeah.
funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
And Nightwing's dead now.
And Nightwing's dead, and like you said, fans were, I guess, pissed, even though, again, it's a stupid adult humor show, but yeah, Nightwing's gone. Because Nightwing being dead, then, so Barbara, who they found, like, that's the thing, is they're on the lookout for her the entire last episode, and they're even, like, Harley's running around with her roommate. Barbara Gordon apparently has a roommate, and blah, blah, blah. Well, they find out where Barbara is. They go out to the cabin. So Barbara went out to the cabin to be with her mom because Jim abandoned the mom. So they're out there and they're freezing their ass off. And then Nightwing was like in a tree, and like he just falls down and he's dead. And that's how the episode that's how the episode cliffhangers. And then it goes to the next one and they do the funeral, and the funeral's funnier than shit because there's like fanboys there that are dressed as him or dressed in like Robin costumes. And then like the rest of all the heroes are there, like Superman, Flash, Aquaman, they're all there and shit. And you find out that the person who killed him was Joker. Because Joker's tired of being the mayor and he wants to go back to being evil. And he's like sitting with his family at a round table and they're like all okay with it, and like his wife just is like, this cashier's never nice to me at the grocery store, and like they all start like cackling. Yeah, they all start cackling because Joker's like basically saying he's like, I'll murder him too, or shit like that. So then Barbara Gordon, like, for whatever reason, they go to the Legion of Doom trying to, I think, figure out who killed Nightwing. Barbara Gordon gets drunk. And she starts drunk and fighting every person in the Legion of Doom, and is like whooping their ass. And she's like intoxicated. It's pretty fun. It was actually the highlight of the episode for me. It was pretty funny. But on the whole, the season is not that great. The laughs are not as
well, and I dogged it earlier, but the problem is I think there is that aspect of it being a little daunting. Because I did start the first season, and there's just so fucking much. There's so fucking much in between one and where we're at right now, and so I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna at least try to watch the new ones, and I think I watched the new ones, and you're saying that they're not that great, so it's like, fuck, like
all the seasons before this current season, those are hilarious.
I got to episode 5 of the first season. I'm just like, okay. But I'm like, kind of dragging along the bottom a little bit, probably because there's so much ahead of me.
Yeah, but the thing about the newest season is what made the first couple seasons great, like, wasn't necessarily Harley and Ivy. It was all the other characters, like Ivy's plant, King Shark, Bane,
Gordon.
Clayface, Gordon and Batman, and Gordon and Batman's like whole relationship. And Gordon's on the rooftop, like, chain smoking cigarettes, like, going on rants, and damn it, Jim, like, pay attention, like,
and there are parts that are funny, like that.
He just wants to be best friends with Batman.
Yeah,
but Batman doesn't give a shit about.
Yeah,
and I like those parts. I do like those parts, and that's the thing. I guess the dynamic with Harley and Ivy, I just don't care for it. It's not just anything. It's just not that funny to me. It's not that funny. I don't know. And they're such a prominent duo in this show that it's like, fucking God, they just keep coming back, and I'm like,
yeah. Oh, and then the midget.
Oh, Dr. Psycho.
Dr. Psycho. He's also like gone too from this season. That's the thing, is like all the side characters are what made the shit. Like, again, they're really what makes the show hilarious in the first few seasons. Now, but this latest season, they're just, it's entirely, like, basically Harley and Ivy, Nora Freeze, Barbara, and that's been about it.
It's probably why I'm so anti with it right now. It's the fourth season.
There's just not enough. There's just not enough characters. Like at first it was like the first episode or two was really funny, but then it's just become apparent that they're not going to give any love to the characters that you kind of got to know like over the first 3 seasons.
You built the series on.
Yeah, that you built the series on.
In a weird way, the season almost just, and it's a goofy adult comedy show, whatever, but it almost in a weird way just still feels directionless. At least like the other previous seasons felt like we still had this direction that we were heading into.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the zany craziness that would go on, it still felt like we were on some tracks heading somewhere. This, it's like, yeah, I feel like we're heading to something, but it just feels like the train's kind of going like this. And I'm not digging it, Chief. Like,
yeah, yeah, I agree.
Just and like you said, I don't feel like the laughs are as hitting as much as they have the previous 3 seasons. Like, I just find myself not. I mean, he said this earlier when we got on. He finds himself kind of doing like the last season we had with Bad Batch of checking his phone a lot. I've had that same issue this season, and I've never had that issue with the show.
I've been doing that.
But this season I have.
I mean, I'll just say it. I literally did that with the episode this week, and at the very end of it, like, I had to sit there and rewind it back 2 minutes because I got on my phone at the very end and I was like, wait, what happened? And I had to rewind it and rewatch it.
And you would think that's the last time.
Oh, actually, I had to too, and I almost forgot what it was. She ends up like seeing herself like across the room walking, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And then it ends, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah." I had to rewind that part too because I remember looking down and hearing her go, "What the fuck?" And then, and I was like, "Oh fuck, what the hell did I just?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Is Nightwing back?"
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be interesting too. That like she sees herself because like earlier in the episode, like she got to the apartment, she fell asleep, and Frank said like, "Yeah, you sleepwalked and you went around and did all this shit." So really, it was probably the double. You know. That's probably what's going to happen next week, is you're going to find out it was really the double that went and smashed the entire aparpment.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Shaved Catwoman's favorite cat, hair, like shaved it down, hairless. Like,
just petty shit.
Yeah, stupid petty shit. Like yeah, she sleeps walking. She does all this stupid petty shit. Oh, did you know? I don't know if it's always been there, but did you notice, like, on Frank the plant, there's an ass on the back?
Yeah, his little tiny ass.
Yeah, I was like, I saw that, and I was like, has that always been there for him? I don't know. I'm
not gonna lie, I don't know the answer to that, but I definitely noticed it this episode. So it almost makes me wonder if it hasn't been, but maybe it has.
Part of it makes me wonder if it hasn't been, and they were just like, you know what, that was funny in Ant-Man, we're gonna do it to Frank. Like, you know, like that's what I'm kind of wondering. Like with Ant-Man and MODOK, like the ass, it was like
or Nightwing goes down.
Nightwing, yeah.
And the ass comes up on the plant.
Yeah. But yeah, that's really been, I don't know, I'm not really going to give any scores because I don't think we have for Harley, but that's really just kind of what's happened on that show the last 2 weeks. Well, like I said, I haven't watched this week's My Adventures, but I did watch last week's My Adventures.
They kind of blended together, watched them at the same time, so it's like, to me, I don't know where one ends and one begins.
I mean, if you guys want to talk about this week's, I'm fine with that. I don't care. But last week's, it was Mixus Piddlix, or however the hell you say his name.
Yeah.
Mixus Piddlix, you actually did really fucking good.
Yeah.
I think you pretty much nailed it. My boy, I love him.
Yeah, I was sitting there in my head trying to figure out how they said it, and then he said it, and I was like, that's not bad. I was like, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, that zany asshole that's from, like,
the
fifth dimensional.
He's like, I was gonna say fourth or fifth dimensional that just crosses over and just is
a devious little trickster.
Isn't there like a dark universe where Joker gets his powers?
Oh god,
I think there's one. I'm pretty sure that because I'm pretty sure I've read this one. I'm pretty sure there was actually one where he was going to give the Joker 1% of his powers as a joke, but the Joker tricks him into giving him 99% of his power, and he basically becomes omnipotent, and he fucks up Darkseid.
Oh god.
God damn.
Yeah. That's actually when I heard that name, I was like, I fucking know who that is. Like, usually, not every one of them, a lot of them, but not all of them. But I was like, I know who the fuck that is. I was like, uh-oh. Because the only way I know him was because he basically was Joker.
I don't remember. I don't know anything about that.
I'll
I
have to
can't
look it
even
up.
like
I'll tell you guys
express
about
the
it.
amount of joy I had when he popped up on screen, and his anime character design. I was like, it's just so perfect. Like
It was
the fact that he looks different than what he should in the comics, but as soon as he popped up, I knew exactly who the fuck he was. Good fucking character.
Looks
design.
like he belongs in the
Yeah.
Tournament of Power, dude.
Yeah.
That's honestly like what I thought of initially.
He's got his
when he
little-
popped up. I was like,
his little snarl tooth. Yeah, he's adorable, which is what he should be because he's a little piece of shit.
yeah, dude, I loved it. I love this show, dude.
This show I fucking adore this show.
I love it, dude. It's awesome.
Say it every week, and I'm gonna keep telling you every week. Hopefully, this show is amazing. And so we had this show went multiverse in this episode too.
Yeah. It's basically a whole bunch of Lois Lanes from universes where Superman does not end up being not so hero-y. They're basically on a multiversal warpath to just eliminate all of them.
Yeah.
Like they're all scorned Lois Lanes that think, well, all these Supermen are gonna end up brainwashed by Dooms or by Darkseid. Also Doomsday. They kills him.
Oh, in that
yeah.
universe too, Batman injects himself with the Doomsday virus and becomes like this fucking giant creature and kills Superman.
Is that? I mean, now I'm.
See, that's what you should have done, Zach. That's why the universe never got off the ground.
Fucked up Batman that becomes Doomsday.
Yeah, because Batman was married and Superman goes on this killing millions rampage and then kills Bruce's wife or Batman's wife, Bruce's wife, and then that's what makes him fucking go off the handle. He tries to get him to come back and then he doesn't, so he's just like fucking turns it into this fucking giant called like I can't remember what it's called, like the Destroyer or something like that. It's
Dude,
fucking,
what the hell is this?
I'm gonna find out. I'll bring it up next week.
Okay.
Where was that? I'll say actually I do want to know because I didn't know that the movie exists. Or is it an animated movie?
No, it's
Or
a
comic.
comic.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
It's actually funny. I remember the green of fucking Joker that showed up behind Darkseid because Darkseid Darkseid became a good guy to save the universe from Joker, and and then fucking Joker.
This motherfucker tried to go Thanos on us?
And then,
Right.
yeah,
that actually.
and then Joker's green shows up behind him while he's in space, and it's fucking him, his presence, and he fucking just murks his ass.
Dude, speaking of that, that's what's kind of the bummer. I mean, I guess since they're doing the multiverse, whatever, that is kind of the bummer that Thanos is dead in the MCU. Because, eventually, later on, he helps the Avengers stop the psychotic from the future Magus, who's Adam Warlock, that went crazy and evil.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, that Magus comes over to 616, or he travels back in time with a different Thanos.
Well, didn't Thanos?
So then there's two Thanoses in existence. I have speaking of omnibuses, I have the omnibus of this. This is called so that's actually the Infinity Wars timeline of the comics.
Yeah, because isn't Thanos' backstory isn't he in love with Lady Death or something like that, and he wants to give her as many souls or some shit? Or
the
deaths?
entire it's Infinity Gauntlet is the omnibus you can buy. It's called the Infinity Gauntlet. That's the run, and it starts out with Death brings back Thanos from the dead, and she gives him all the stones right away, and he's in love with her, and he's trying to impress her. So he's like, I know what I'll do. I'll snap my fingers and wipe out half the universe in your name, so you'll love me. And he does it, and she still just doesn't care.
Yeah.
So he does all this fucked up shit. That's the whole the living death with Nebula.
Yeah.
Like Nebula will come to like the fucking giant floating space rock that he's technically on with Death and the other people. So like in the Infinity War movie, like when he has Nebula like all disassembled, that's like a reference to the living Death that she is in the comics, where like he has her to a point where she's like basically neither fully dead nor alive, because she's just like mummified sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot. Fucking sweet.
Fucking sweet.
Fucking sweet. But yeah. Anyway, so Darkseid pulls a good guy in this universe. Again, Marvel did that with Thanos. Like, so that's where I was getting at, was you have the whole Infinity Gauntlet thing. Adam Warlock does spare Thanos, and he actually gives Thanos one stone. He's like, you can keep this one. And then Warlock keeps the remaining 5, and then he has like a circle of people with himself, and like they all each hold a stone, is how that gets solved. But then later they have the Infinity Wars comic omnibus line whole run thing that's a sequel off that. Superman, back to Superman.
back to the old
Back
Superman.
to my adventures with
Yeah,
Superman.
we went
and
on a
done
long
with
one there.
done with tangents.
Basically, they finally beat Mrs. Pitalik in his dastardly deeds. I do like how he was there basically just to steal his hat, which is from the comics that he normally wears. When I saw that bitch, I was like, oh, you cheeky fucks. And I like how they animated it, though, where it's like as soon as he puts it on, it just turns into something else. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'm just glad you gave me the nod of the fucking hat. That's good enough for me. Eventually, Lois and Superman work together using all the vastly different portals to trick him and get him back captured, even though that does not last for long.
My man was just trying to have a date.
Yeah, my man he wants to give Lois the greatest date of her life. And meanwhile, I did like how I'm sure it's on this somewhere. Yeah, Jelana, the female multiverse version of Jimmy, was also a flame bird. Let's go, fellow flame bird.
Yeah. That's how she actually like accepts the our Jimmy.
Yep.
Is like she kind of accepts him because he's a flame bird.
Flame birds always stick together.
And they're two of the only ones that in any multiverse, you know, that's pretty cool.
So they end up getting sent back. Lois makes away with File X, though, and opens it in her room by herself at the very end of the night and discovers that there are, in fact, in alternate universes, some of them having some good Supermans, some not so good, which further
Did they
gets her
show the
worried
Red
about.
Sun one?
I think
Wasn't one of them a Red
I think
Sun
so.
one?
At least it looked pretty damn close. It was. It seemed like at least a reference.
And then
to
one
it.
was in like the white suit that we saw Jor-El in at the beginning of the series.
Yep, the traditional like.
So I think that's that whole like
Kryptonian garb.
Yeah, so you guys can kind of maybe spoil it for me on this next one, but my theory is that's like the whole like day zero thing. Maybe.
Yeah, so that episode was Kiss Kiss Fall in a Portal or Fallen Portal. And then so this one 0 Day Part 1. Next week we have 0 Day Part 2 obviously. When it ended I was like, "Oh shit, do we have 2 episodes this week?" Nah, I only got 1.
So do you guys want to do the 0 Day Part 1 and 2 since you haven't seen Part 1? Do we want to just do that all as one review?
It's up to you guys.
It's up to you guys.
We might as well. I mean, then we'll be on the same page. We can do Part 1 and Part 2. We don't have to speculate. Just rock it out.
I mean, we can do that. It's
It's fucking 12 to 16 too, and I'm about ready to be done.
12 past the old midnight.
I'm gonna be up at 7 in the morning, fucking on the goddamn rowing machine. So
I was gonna
what's our
say
time
I'm
champ?
still gonna wake up early tomorrow morning. I don't know how early now. I mean, but yeah, I wanted to wake up kind of early.
I mean, we're at the 2:20 mark, and yes, I guess it does make sense if it is a part 1, and then we'll have part 2, so we could just do those back to back next week. So, yeah, new Harley Quinn, 2 episodes, My Adventures, and then
Ahsoka. 2 episodes.
yeah, Ahsoka, 2 episodes. I think it was what, an hour and 37 minutes is the premiere. Then I heard episodes 3 35 minutes. So hey, thanks Disney.
Of course.
But
As is tradition.
As is tradition.
This one's gonna be a good one, right, boys? Let's keep.
And it's another.
That's
day-
my bad.
another
We'll
good
keep
day
the
in
positivity
Canada,
high.
and therefore the world.
And that for the while.
Therefore the world.
But thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. Of course, if you did like what you saw, you should give us a nice little like ski.
Little like and subscribe.
Hit that
like
little
ski.
bell up
A
there.
little subby sub. Ring the little
Hit the thumbs up.
ring that ding button. If you want to know anytime we go post a new video, or potentially go live. You never know. Of course, if you want an audio only version, we are on Spotify as well. Twitter or X gonna give it to you, whatever you want to call it. As little as I hope to God we're on there still. Our handle is official T3P. Fuck you, Elon. I don't know. Let's get rid of the block feature because I don't understand why this is a thing on any social media thing.
No, it just doesn't make sense, man.
It's also he's not going to be able to do it because then it'll get kicked off both of the app stores. But either way, we love you guys. We appreciate you so much. What'd you guys think of Blue Beetle? If you guys are one of the 5 people that actually fucking saw it. And until next time,
So disheartening.
I'm your boy Jay.
I'm KP.
And it's the bull.
As always, we will see you.
To the window, to the wall.
No.